the United States. You're going to pay at those higher mortgage rates over the 30-year mortgage a couple $100,000 more in interest payments.
Can that bring an overall economy down or not?
Oh, are you kidding me? Have you forgotten about 2008?
Yeah, well, that was a lot of defaults. I mean, were we going to have a lot of defaults?
Hopefully not, but you might see that, because if the home values fall, then people have a less incentive to pay the mortgage, right? So what happened in 2008 is people actually had a bigger mortgage than they had value in the home. Remember that?
Yeah.
And that's when you had the complete crash.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm not trying to sound apocalyptic. I don't think we're going to see the kind of crash we saw in 2008, which was devastating. But I think you could see an increase in the number of people who just say, I'm having a problem paying my mortgage. And I think you might see higher default rates.
Okay. So the Fed keeps doing what it's doing. It raises rates. When do you think inflation is stabilized and we could come out of whatever soft recession you think we're in?
Oh, gosh, there's so many thousand different things that influence the inflation rate, not just what's happening here in America, what's happening in China, what's happening in Europe. So, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd be a really rich guy. Right? So I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know where we're headed with inflation. I do think it's going to come down a bit, but Jerome Powell wants to go to the 2% target, which is where we should be. Boy, it's going to be gut-wrenching to go from 8% to 2%. So I think he is right. He's being honest. There will be some pain here.
Steve Moore, former Trump economic advisor, current economist at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us.
Anytime. Thank you very much.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code UP for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code UP for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code UP for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
I got Park Hill and West Valley covered on Tuesday.
At Marita's Pool Service, the current staffing plan doesn't hold water.
3 more neighborhood pools on the same day.
She needs more pool technicians to dive into work head first.
That's awesome, but now we're shorthanded.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're 19 or older with certain underlying medical conditions such as asthma or diabetes, you can get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia, a potentially serious bacterial lung disease that can disrupt your life for weeks. If you're 65 or older, it is also recommended you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. No matter the season, talk to your doctor about vaccination today and learn more at lung.org/protect yourself. A message from the American Lung Association in collaboration with Pfizer.
Furnished by the American Lung Association.
Columbo and Katie.
People have been demanding answers from the president about issues like the student loan repayment plan, but are we getting any of those answers? We'll find out Tuesday at 2:20 from White House correspondent Christian Daytalk.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hi, this is David with Household Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. I pay cash and close in as little as 3 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and any location in St. Louis. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and you want to sell it fast, Call me at 314-293-3000. That's 314-293-3000. 314-293-3000.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Channel 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we are proud to be the official weather source for News Talk STL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect that same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from News Talk STL. The Forewarned Storm Team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis is the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and News Talk STL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
Work. Plus, setup couldn't be easier because everything's ready to go in the app. Just say,
Alexa, play news from Fox. In Fox News.
it's the latest when you need it on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, August 30th. This is the Fox News Rundown. President Biden heads to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania today to talk about gun violence. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says he will urge Congress to take more steps to combat gun violence and ban assault weapons. He's also expected to announce plans to hire more police officers around the country. And on Thursday, he will hold a prime-time speech on the battle for the soul of the nation. And the Artemis 1 moon mission is grounded after liftoff was scrapped yesterday. NASA says it could be Friday at the earliest that they can get that rocket launched. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and NewstalkSTL.com. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Like Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Columbo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. Putting an Agers system in our new home was our number one priority because Agers' number one priority is doing right by the customer. St. Louis weather is unpredictable, but no matter what's happening outside, having a new HVAC system from Agers will ensure your family is safe and comfortable inside. Whether you need repairs or replacement, Agers has you covered with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Selling your St. Louis area home is a big deal. It's one of the biggest financial transactions you will ever make. In St. Louis, call Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. That's Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She'll do a great job for you. Gloria has mastered the home selling process to help you maximize the sale of your home in this crazy seller's market. Why, Miss Lou? Gloria already has the buyers, thousands of them looking for homes in your neighborhood and your price range. Fact is, with Gloria Lou, your home may already be sold. And while most agents make big promises, Gloria will sell your home at the agreed price and time frame, or she will buy it, guaranteed in writing. So please call Gloria Lou today, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com, GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Decision 22 News.
Inflation, gas prices.
Decision 22 Analysis.
The things the American people want to hear about.
Decision 22 Opinion.
Same old tired talking points.
In St. Louis, Decision 2022 happens right here. News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Mike Slater in San Diego, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update morning edition about freedom of speech. But first, a word.
AMAC is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful news, and a magazine full of uncensored content. They are pushing back against efforts to defund the police, weaken the borders, and corrupt our youth. But they need your help. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us.
Hey, this is Mike Slater, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. On this Tuesday morning, I am thinking about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is always and will always be under attack. The question is, will it be defended? And so far in this generation, no, it has not. One reason why freedom of speech hasn't been defended is many conservatives can't articulate the line that they're willing to defend freedom of speech up to. Many conservatives have been tricked into calling things hate speech and, that should be illegal. No, hate speech is allowed, and that's wrong. So here's the line. All speech is allowed, all of it, up to anything that incites imminent lawless action. How imminent? There was a protest back in 1973 at Indiana University, and police cleared the streets, and a protester yelled, "We are going to take these streets later." And he was arrested for his speech. But the Supreme Court said, no, later is not imminent enough. It's too vague even. Has to be even more specific and more imminent than that. That is how far we must protect freedom of speech. Conservatives must be freedom of speech extremists. No matter how despicable and depraved, how awful and terrible, what they're saying is we must protect their right to say it unless it incites imminent lawless action. That's our line. Benjamin Franklin said, in those wretched countries where a man cannot call his tongue his own, he can scarce call anything else his own either. Be a free speech extremist. The attacks will come for you next. And as Ben said, we lose our speech, we lose it all. Don't give them an inch. More coming up.
I'm excited to tell you about our new entertainment partner, Vidgo. V as in Victor, IDGO. Vidgo gives you the freedom to be entertained at a price you can afford. Vidgo has all my favorite live sports networks and a great choice of news programming. All of that starting at just $59 a month. You do deserve the freedom to be entertained at a price you and your family can afford. So please go to vidgo.com/Bill.
I'm Mike Slater, MikeSlater.locals.com. This has been the O'Reilly Update, Morning Edition.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature at 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
News, analysis, opinion. Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Remember all that talk about a red wave? You know, if you said it on Vic Porcelli's show, you got buzzed, right? Yep, Ken, you buzzed him. Yeah. And so
a lot of pundits and pollsters who, frankly, are very biased and want the Democrats to do really well, they're pointing out that there may be a momentum shift and a momentum shift back towards the left. I'm not sure I totally believe that, but I'm seeing the Republicans, I'm seeing the conservative movement make some really stupid mistakes. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Ferguson. I'm back. At least I'm going to give this a shot. Still not recovered from the surgery, which has been a lot rougher than I thought it was going to be. But I really appreciate all the prayers, and I'll give you an update on my health here in just a little bit. But on yesterday's program, Gabe and Susie and Ken had a chance to visit with Dick Morris, the one and only Dick Morris, talking about the prospects of Donald Trump running for president again in 2024. To me, that is a foregone conclusion. But here's what Dick Morris, obviously talking about his new book, had to say about it.
I know he's going to run, and I believe he's going to get the nomination without opposition, and I think he'll win the election.
Now, your 2016 book, Armageddon, How Trump Can Beat Hillary, turned quite a few media heads back in the day. First, because the polls so heavily favored Hillary in the election, but then as somewhat prescient given the surprising result. What kind of reactions are you getting right now for your latest?
Well, I think people are basically believing that they know Trump's going to run. They believe that he'll get the nomination. But with all of the harassment of Trump and the legal harassment, I think they're concerned about it. And I think that what we have to realize, and one of the key points I make in the book, The Return, is that we're going to have to go through hell to get this done. Because basically the Democrats have decided Trump's own success is working against them. Democrats have decided that they can't beat him at the ballot box. They tried to beat him in these primaries with candidates he didn't endorse. They tried to beat him after the January 6th hearing, but his numbers kept going up, and he's still well ahead of Biden in the polling. And that led them to conclude that they have to get him out in the courts, beat him in the courts, not at the ballot box. So they raided Mar-a-Lago. I think they're planning to indict him. Possibly on just the picayune, clerical, bookkeeper, anal retentive grounds of the archives. I mean, there's a kind of almost a fetish about making sure the documents are all there in order and all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted. There's no indication that there's any national security problem, and how could there be? He's Donald Trump. He had complete control over these secrets before he would have left the presidency. And what do you think now? He's going to call up Iran and say, "Hey guys, I have news for you at China." It's ridiculous. But the statute says that if you mishandle documents, you can be barred from holding public office. But again, that's not appropriate because the Constitution lists the qualifications for being president, and you can't supersede those with a statute. But there's a more basic point I want to make. The Republicans are making a mistake in their Senate races. That's one of the reasons they're lagging in a few of them. They are talking about concerns as opposed to issues. Issues win elections, concerns don't. I'm concerned about gas prices. Okay. The issue is, do you favor offshore drilling? Do you favor fracking? Do you want to open federal lands to oil exploration? Do you favor increased oil drilling? That's the issue. The concern is inflation. The issue is, did you vote for these spending bills? The concern is immigration. The issue is, do you favor catch and release? Do you favor remain in Mexico? Do you believe in deporting criminal aliens who committed murder and serious crimes while they're here? Those are the issues where Biden is on the wrong side and Republicans are on the right side. And Republicans need to start making those issues as opposed to just talking about high gas prices and high inflation and open borders. That's not going to hack it. You need issues where your opponent is on the wrong side.
Mr. Morris, it sounds like you're saying, we really need to focus on not just identifying the problems, but suggesting what the solutions themselves could be and contrasting those. And I know one of the premises of the return is that maybe Republicans need to take a page out of the Democratic playbook and start using some of their own tactics. What are some of those tactics that you think the Republicans could adopt that would be beneficial?
The big one is that the Republicans insist that their voters get out of bed and dress warmly and go and wait online to vote in person. And the Democrats say, you don't got to do that. Just stay at home, watch TV. Your doorbell will ring and there'll be a friendly Democratic worker there with a ballot box, and just fill it in and deposit it in the box. Now, Republicans stress GOTV, get out the vote. But Democrats understood that home delivery beats eating out every time. Every pizza delivery boy knows that. So we Republicans brought out 11 million new people who had not voted before, who stood in line, put up with the dangers of getting COVID, although they turned out not to be significant, and voted. But the Democrats had 15 million more people who voted without bestirring themselves at all, without ever getting out the front door. And there's nothing magical about voting in person. And while we need to protect fraud, and we have ways of doing that, I'll get to that in a sec. The key thing is that we can't rely on the old strategy of drag them out to vote. We have to adjust to the era of voting at home. Now, we don't have to adjust to the era of ballot fraud. And the way we can stop that is that there is a court decision going up now called Moore v. Harper, in which the court is saying that the Constitution says the times, places, and manner of holding elections for Congress shall be determined by the state legislatures, not by the states, but by the legislatures. And there are a bunch of states, swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Minnesota, where the Republican legislature have passed laws that are basically foolproof in stopping ballot fraud. They're already in effect now in Georgia, Arizona, and Florida. They say no drop boxes, photo ID required, signature verification. But in those swing states, the Democratic governors have vetoed those bills, and they won't take effect. But when we win Moore v. Harper, which is coming up in September or October, and it looks like we're going to win that, the governor will have no role in vetoing those bills. They'll be veto-proof because the Constitution says only the legislature sets these requirements, not the governor.
Good morning, Dick. This is Ken Williams. In addition to the Biden administration weaponizing the FBI and to make it almost illegal for Trump to run in 2024, they're also creating some type of, narrative by calling MAGA people semi-fascists. Is there a reason for them to be doing that regarding the upcoming election? Is it something to make people stay away from voting for Trump?
Yeah, well, there is that rhetoric about white supremacy and neo-Nazis. Come on, put it in perspective. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, a bunch of hairy, fat, bald guys in jail with covered in tattoos. Don't give me that white supremacism is a mass thing. What they are trying to do is weaponize the IRS and use the expansion of the IRS to intimidate people. And I write about this in my book. In Eastern Europe, they didn't send people to gulags anymore in the post-communist era. They hit them on tax evasion. And what is going to happen here is that the extra agents are not to target billionaires. They don't need 87,000 guys with guns to find tax shelters. They need a few good lawyers. What they need, what they're using them for, is 95% of all IRS audits are for people making less than $12,000 a year, less than $15,000. Excuse me, I got the stat wrong. Less than $25,000 a year in income. They're going after unreported income. So what they're going to do is to go to the home of every mom and pop store, every bodega, every waiter or waitress that works for tips, every solo entrepreneur, and say, hey, we went through your records and we watched your business. We photographed people going in and out of your store, and we believe you have underreported income, and we think we can prove it. And I think you reported your tips accurately. And they'll say, look, we can indict you because that's tax evasion. But you're a nice guy, and we think that you probably are honest. But what's that Trump sign doing out on your lawn? I mean, it's in your face. And they bumper sticker, that's not doing you any good either. And for God's sakes, don't let my boss know that you went to a Trump rally. He just goes ballistic when he hears that, and I don't know what he's going to do. So my message to you, taxpayer, is be careful. Be careful. Don't do anything in our face. Don't be provocative. Be careful. Keep your head down. And it's by that means of subtle intimidation that they plan to cow the Trump voters into silence, very much like they did to the Tea Party in 2010, where they used audits and document requests and all of that to drive them out of business and force them all into bankruptcy. And it was never heard from as a political force after 2010 was over.
Dick Morris, author of The Return, Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. That's a #1 bestseller. Hey, Dick, how can people get a hold of your book, and how can they find you on socials?
I have not been banned yet.
That's good.
So you can find me on Amazon and on BarnesandNoble.com.
We've got that news roundup coming your way here in just about 4 minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the conversation started, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Now the O'Reilly update brings you something you might not know.
Bill O'Reilly, weeknights at 6:45. Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GLInternationalRealty.com.
No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
On News Talk STL.
Hi, I'm Jen Wallner.
And I'm Rodney Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Rodney, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission rate?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
When's the best time to sell your home?
Right now. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
How is your car payment treating you? What if I told you you could make a free phone call right now and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Look at your car payment closely. You could be paying as high as 20% interest. Rate Genius can help you reduce your car payments by reducing your interest rate to as low as 2.48% APR. We can refinance most existing car loans or leased cars, new or used, and save you money every month. Put more money back in your pocket. The call is free to find out how low we can lower your car payment. 5 minutes of your time right now could save you hundreds of dollars a year. Call Rate Genius now.
800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. 800-764-2179. That's 800-764-2179.
Not all applicants qualify for a loan or rate savings. Actual offer terms, including APR, are determined at the time of your application based on creditworthiness, value of the vehicle, loan term, and other factors.
Columbo and Katie.
Equality means equality. It means you don't discriminate against anybody.
And what are we teaching the next generation? The entire American struggle, it wasn't pretty. It was our history is very ugly, but we have the opportunity to show our younger generation, see how ugly this was. Do you see brother fighting against brother to make things right? Because that's how much we care.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and America's largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal law enforcement agencies through our many varied programs, including free safety equipment donations, free officer survival training, cash donations, and condolence letters to the family of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty. USDSA also offers college scholarships for the dependent children of law enforcement, along with the Citizen Awareness Program and thank you cards to law enforcement. These are just some of the ways United States Deputy Sheriff's Association assists America's law enforcement and the citizens they serve. For more information about United States Deputy Sheriff's Association or to see how you can help, visit www.usdeputy.org. United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, taking training to the next level because lives are on the line.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what isn't.
Right here.
The country is heading in the wrong direction under this president. We're suffering shortages. America's running out of everything.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. News, analysis, opinion. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, I'm back. I missed you all. I'll give you an update on what's happened with me here in just a little bit. A few things that have caught my attention here. Got some updates regarding that FBI Mar-a-Lago search warrant, that situation. Yeah, some of those updates are due today. We're going to get to that in just a little bit, at least what details we do know, which, there's some there, but we'll get something probably later on this afternoon. And how about this? And this is actually kind of, to me, a related story. As we get closer to the midterm elections, here's a question I've got for you. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think there's some people who are not going to like my my take on this. Are Republicans giving away their momentum heading into the 2022 elections by not focusing on 2022? Well, maybe, but I'll tell you why I think that could be happening. Love to get your thought on that as well. Also, one winning issue for the Republican Party. We know that this is working because it's working all over the country, and that is school choice. So at 8:05, we've got the nation's leading voice for education freedom, Corey DeAngelis, going to give us an update. What happened in Arizona last couple of weeks? Oh, my goodness. This is absolutely huge. Hey, good morning. I am Mike Ferguson. It is coming up on 5:51. Yes, I am back. I'm actually doing this from the home studio. And Ken, since all the shutdowns and everything, we all have home studios now. But I would much rather be there in the studio. But the fact of the matter is I can't see stuff right now. So I'm basically just going to wing it from here. I've got a bunch of papers in front of me. I wrote a bunch of words on them. I just can't really tell you what they say because I can't see much of anything. Man, but I tell you though, it's probably better. You've got the photograph up on Rumble and Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
YouTube.
I'm gone for like a week and a half and we're on YouTube again. Because I am telling you the surgery results on my face, not pretty. And I wasn't pretty to start with, man, but I'll give you the update. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely
But we're just glad to hear you, Mike. We've got you at least from home. That's good.
Yeah. Cause what's supposed to happen is today was the expiration of the time the doctor said, basically I was supposed to lay face down, almost 24/7. I could, get up like once an hour, but I was supposed to lay face down. And so today's the first day I don't have to do that anymore. And it's been just driving me up a wall.
So did you sleep a lot while doing that?
Not really. It's really nothing's comfortable. But I will tell you right after the show, I'm recording an interview for my syndicated show. And then I am sleeping because I can't now. I'm taking a big long nap.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, nothing's been comfortable. It's an eye surgery. So, you expect things aren't going to be fun. But man, this has been miserable. But I'll give everybody the update. And I got to thank Gabe and Paul and Susie and you and everybody and who's just really stepped up while I've been unable to do the show. And hopefully I can just keep going after this and get back in the studio as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's been fun, but we do miss you, Mike, being in here. So
I really need to get back there as soon as I can. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one at 6:05. No big secret here. Ken, you've talked about, was it your nephew, I think, who's a police officer in St. Louis City?
Yeah.
Car theft, big problem, huge problem around the area, but particularly in St. Louis City. And the city is really, really mad, and they want somebody to be held accountable for this. They're blaming the car makers. I'm not kidding about that. So 6:05, I'll explain to you, and it's just another lesson in how City Hall thinks in St. Louis, Missouri City. All right. Today is the deadline for the Justice Department to give a more detailed description of the documents taken from Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. Fox News' Ryan Schmelz has the detail. He is in Washington.
The DOJ says it will follow the judge's directions by submitting under seal paperwork that shows the documents taken from the former president's estate were, quote, pursuant of the search warrant executed. The department also completing its review Monday, identifying a small set of materials that could have attorney-client privileged information. President Trump had accused the DOJ of taking documents covered by attorney-client privilege and recently accused the department of election interference, saying it's trying to disrupt the upcoming midterms and 2024 presidential election. A hearing in a Florida federal court on appointing a special master to review the documents is scheduled for Thursday. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
And we have no idea what time that that information is going to be turned over, and the courts don't have to make any ruling or release any of it today, so we'll just find out whether it was actually done or if anything changed there. We'll get into this a little bit later, probably around 7:35 or so. Do not assume that President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan is set in stone. I know this is being discussed on the show a lot. Congressman Lisa McClain is a Republican from Michigan, and she was on the Family Research Council's video podcast show, and she basically said, yeah, you can count on there's something happening in court.
Do you know about the potential of a legal challenge to this decision, if any?
Well, I can assure you we will have a legal challenge, because when you're going to put a policy in place with the stroke of a pen where you can put on the backs of the American people that are already suffering with 8.5% inflation, you can, with a stroke of a pen, decide to make a $500 billion decision. I think that needs to go through the proper channels. I think it definitely needs to go through Congress. And I think you're going to see many legal challenges. And I can assure you that this is top of mind for us Republicans. When we get back in session, we've already had some talks about what we're going to do.
No, my computer was not playing an episode of The West Wing in the background. That's their sound guy jumping the gun on that one. But yeah, 7:35.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I know, because I was editing that yesterday, and I'm going, what in the world? Wait a minute, do I have something else playing? No, that's just their sound. And so 7:35, Anthony Davies from the Words and Numbers podcast. Okay, this is a really, really popular podcast that just looks at the effects of issues and policy and politics on everyday economics. And, these two guys get out there and just talk about stuff and take suggestions. And so co-host Anthony Davies is going to be with us at 7:35. This is going to be really, really fascinating. Okay, Ken, as we head into the first information segment of the day here, I am telling you two things. One, I may have to eat my words about something, and I am thrilled if I have to do it. Okay. The Cardinals beat the Reds 13-4 yesterday. So just whoop the crap out of them yesterday. The Cardinals now have a 6-game lead in the National League Central. So things are looking really good. Not a guarantee, long way to go. Magic numbers, still way off. Shouldn't even be talking about magic number at this point. But get this, Albert Pujols hit another home run.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've been following him.
694.
Yeah.
And I started saying beginning of the season, and I said I would love to eat my words on this, but he's not on pace to get to the 700 goal. But since the All-Star break, Albert Pujols is just hitting the snot out of the baseball.
Well, you've got over 30 games left, and then you've got potentially, and I think we're probably pretty clear about it, going to the playoffs. So at least for the short term, and so that adds some other games to it. So I think he's got a good shot, Mike.
He does, and I mentioned he really had to pick up the pace to get on pace, and he's there now. It's still, he has to keep hitting like this with whatever 30-some games are left, because he only generally bats when there's left-handed pitching, so he's not going to be in all those games. And so
but do you think they'll push that a little bit?
Yep,
because
I think so.
Yeah, they want that.
And I think in times where games get a little out of hand, you know what I think? Just baseball player talk here. I think if somebody's winning by 5 or 6 or 7 runs, I think he's going to start to see fastballs belt high.
Yeah,
where some pitchers are going to go, all right, he's earned it. They would never admit that publicly. but I think that is an absolute possibility. But you know what? I'm going to be thrilled to have to eat my words if that's the case that actually happens. All right,
you know what? If I was a pitcher, I would want to have him hit a home run off of me.
Well, yeah, that was the one he hit last night. That was the 450th different pitcher he's hit a home run off of.
Yeah, wow.
Nobody's ever done that before. That's insane.
5.
All right, just ahead. When cars are stolen, is it the car's fault?
Now is your chance to come and hear your Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, at the iconic Turkish Pavilion in Tower Grove Park.
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McLean, chair of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Come and enjoy free barbecue catered by St. Louis's own Sauce So Good Company at our annual picnic on Sunday, September 11th. It's a family-friendly event and children are more than welcome.
Hear from 9 local candidates as they share their vision for a better future, all while enjoying free barbecue and meeting other Republicans. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details. Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
What does your smile say about you? Are you happy, confident, friendly? Getting and keeping that smile takes work. Proper brushing and flossing daily, and drinking fluoridated water. Fluoridated water has been in use for 75 years and is considered the most safe, equitable, and cost-effective way to prevent tooth decay. A healthy smile means a healthy person and a healthy community. For more information, visit health.mo.gov. A message from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. President Biden expected to push for more gun control when he travels to Northeast Pennsylvania later today.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says during a visit to Wilkes-Barre, the president will emphasize his commitment to law enforcement in his Safer America plan.
And the simple, basic notion that when it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer isn't to defund the police, it's to fund the police.
He's also expected to tout recently approved gun legislation and repeat his call for a ban on semi-automatic weapons.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. Jackson, Mississippi's water treatment system is on the ropes, knocked out by devastating flooding that has severely impacted the city's drinking water supply. Governor Tate Reeves urging people not to drink the water. Emergency supplies are starting to be distributed as emergency repairs to the Jackson water treatment plant get underway. The Ukrainian military has gone on the offensive across southern Ukraine with a surge of fighting across the south and fresh attacks on Russian positions.
In an intelligence note, the British Defence Ministry said although it was not yet possible to confirm the extent of Ukrainian advances, its army had increased artillery fire in frontline sectors across southern Ukraine. It added that Ukrainian troops were using long-range precision strikes to disrupt Russian resupply lines.
That's Sasha Schlichter. It was a year ago today, the last U.S. flight out of Afghanistan as America's 20-year mission in that country ended in disarray. President Biden's abrupt withdrawal left hundreds of Americans trapped in the country, now under Taliban control. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures up 216 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 142. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Factor pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
We tried Dynovite nutritional supplement, and after a couple of weeks, we noticed a big difference. Our little Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
So far, so good this morning. We do have some road work to watch out for. If you're northbound on 255 at 5570, there's only one lane open that's going to be in effect until about 4 this afternoon. Right now, it looks pretty good, but that might back up later. Also on North 170 between Page and the Rock Road, they've already got the right lane closed. That's set till 1 o'clock. And again, we're still moving okay through there now. This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies, and I'm Joe Sonderman. That's the latest from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. And summer with up to $300 off the XPS with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature is 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and humidity drops markedly through the day. So it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by The Dental Link. Call Dr. Alan Link today, 314-794-6464 to schedule your free consultation. Offices in Baldwin and Melville, 314-794-6464.
Hey folks, here's great news for active aging seniors. The Kanega Watch, the only medical alert smartwatch with built-in fall detection. Yeah, the Kanega Watch is much different than the other guys. It's a stylish, discreet watch you can wear all the time. Get help through the watch in one of 3 ways. Your voice, pushing the watch's alert button, or have the fall detection connect you to a U.S.-based 24/7 monitoring center who'll speak to you through your watch and can send help to your GPS location nationwide. And get this, it can do that even if you're not responsive. This is true 24/7 peace of mind for you and those that love you. Order your Kanega Watch with a full refund 30-day trial period. Call now, 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. 800-413-7152. That's 800-413-7152.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday, and we'll talk at 4:25 with Dave Stokes from the Show Me Institute, and at 5:25 we'll have Congressman Burgess Owens.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
You know, there are some groups of people where you look at them and really all you can do is kind of shake your head and just try to understand how their brain works. Guys, can you think of any like groups of people? Like I'll give you an example. Teenagers. That's one, right?
Yeah. You mean the not completely wired brain?
Right. My wife has 2 teenagers, and there are times, and I remember when my kids were teenagers.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we lost your mic.
Oh no.
He'll have to reconnect.
All right. Yeah, teenagers. Honestly, those are probably the biggest group for me where I kind of have a problem understanding their thought process. But then again, I think commie leftists come in either they're tied for first or they're coming close second, because I really can't understand their thought processes, assuming that they're not acting in bad faith.
Oh, I just go out and say the leftist socialist Democrats have a completely different formed brain.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's anything close to even a human brain. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know where the logic comes from.
Okay.
All right. There's Mike.
The machine that we've got here it tells me we timed out, so I'm hitting the thing to connect. For those, and I'll go into more detail on the update on me, for those who obviously know that I've been out because I'm recovering from a surgery on my eyes. literally on my eyeballs. And so I'm doing the show from the house today, and the software is just not cooperating. So apologies in advance for if that were to happen again. Okay, so where I think you guys lost me is I was talking about, groups of people who you just wonder, how did they get from here to there in their brains? You know?
Yeah. And we listed teenagers, and then leftists came in either tied for first or a close second to me.
Yeah. Okay, so funny you should say leftists.
Funny.
Because I saw a couple of news stories here. Now, we know this, and Ken and I mentioned this, right before the info segment, is that car theft is a huge problem in St. Louis, particularly in the city. It happens around the metro, but in the city. And so over the past several months, Kias and Hyundais are massively being stolen. So what's happened is there's some social media video, TikTok or Instagram or one of those, where somebody's figured out like a really easy hack to break into these cars and just drive off with them. It's like a miscalculation in the design or something. Something should have been in there that maybe isn't in there, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, Mike, it's a lockout device that most other cars have, but that Hyundai and Kia are requiring you pay extra for that. It's like an upgrade.
Okay. And so City Hall is really upset with this, and the city police department, they want somebody held accountable. They're ready to go to court to sue Hyundai and Kia.
So weird.
Yeah.
It hits kind of similar to the idea of suing gun manufacturers for gun deaths.
Right.
It falls in the same vein. It's like, hey, somebody must be held responsible, and it must be somebody with deep pockets. I think that's really the calculation there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the letter that was sent from St. Louis City Hall. And by the way, if I'm missing something, 314-912-1019. Love to get your thoughts on this. But they say that it's Kia and Hyundai are the ones responsible to remedy the public nuisance. That's according to City Councilor Sheen Hamilton, who sent the letter, and saying that the companies are not making satisfactory progress in dealing with the car thefts. Now, never mind that we've got a city prosecutor who, I don't know, won't prosecute violent criminals, but the idea that a thief steals a car and they say, car maker's fault, they made it too easy.
It's so weird. It's such a weird take. I don't understand how you get there.
Yeah.
Right.
And you equated with the gun thing. I totally agree with that. And also, Mike, it's just another attempt of this administration in St. Louis and others in the Democrat Party to push crime away from their responsibility, and it's into somebody else's responsibility.
I should have looked before the show, but my guess is if I went on to YouTube, I can probably find a video on how to effectively kick open a door, like in the action movies or the cop dramas and all that kind of stuff. My guess is there's probably a video there.
Yes. Several.
So does that?
I just did it in the time that you asked.
Yeah.
There are at least a dozen effective looking videos here.
Okay, so does that mean that it's the home builder's fault if somebody kicks in the door and breaks into my house? Because somebody showed how easy it is to kick in the door and break into my house. So, let's not focus on the criminal. Boy, that home builder really messed up in 1926 when they built the house.
When they invented the doorknob. It's like there should be an extra safety interlock here. What is going on?
Where's that metal plate to protect the
Had to upgrade to something called a deadbolt. But you're right. I mean, this is and this is how it works, not just St. Louis City, but it happens in, deep blue cities all over the country, in that we're going to blame the criminal last and then wonder why violent crime continues to go up. Now, the fact that Kia and Hyundais are being targeted, I'm sure it has everything to do with the social media video that says, hey guys, stick this thing here, and you can drive off with it. And, if I'm a car owner and my wife actually has a Hyundai and we get a notice saying, hey, you need to buy this upgrade to keep your car from being stolen, I'm going to buy it.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. Both me and my wife have Hyundais. So
great.
So yes, as this crime wave was starting to strike, I was like, is there something wrong with my car?
Yeah, maybe.
But I haven't gotten any notice directly from Hyundai, but I'm thinking I might give them a call.
Well, yeah, Mike, think about this for a second. Well, okay, so then say they fix the problem with the Hyundais and Kias. Okay, that criminal's not going to say, "Oh, well, I guess I give up my criminal activity." It's all over now.
Better go apply for that accounting job now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But if you are a
going
criminal,
away.
yeah, I mean, if you're a criminal, if you are of the criminal mindset, why would you not be attracted to St. Louis City? Because literally the government is going to find a way to blame anybody else, at least in addition to you, if not blame you last.
And then release you.
Yeah, if they and probably not even prosecute you in so many different ways. I mean, there was a quote from Ronald Reagan, years ago that basically said, when we absolve people's, personal responsibility, it's society that, as though society fails, it shows a failure in our, collective character. I mean, I don't remember the exact words, but he addressed this back in the 40 years ago, saying, listen, if we get to a point where we say, boy, that person committed a crime, I wonder how we failed them, instead of saying that person committed a crime, how do we get justice for that? All you're doing is begging for more crime and more victims, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. It does seem very much like a continuation of that stuff that was going on in the. I guess it was just kind of getting started in the 80s and 90s, where everyone was saying, "Oh, well, it's the environment. Oh, it's it's very much let's blame the large faceless collective for the actions of the individuals who live inside it, as though the large collective isn't made up of individuals." So it's a weird thing to go with, and it came along with that whole self-esteem stuff, all the problems that we're having. It started with some weird lefty in the 80s who had a theory about how people's brains work, I think.
And the interim police chief actually has gone as far as saying, some of these cars have been used in other crimes, including shootings, therefore your failure to deal with this is contributing to our gun violence problem. They actually are thinking that way.
Oh man,
the logical leaps kind of hurt my brain.
Yeah, and I know it's a little bit early for that. All right, 314-912-1019. Just ahead here. Remember vaccine mandates? What a failure they were. Well, the Biden administration is still fighting for the power to impose them. Also, the Biden administration says the president's going to give a speech this week on how we're losing our rights.
At the same time, because of semi-fascist, maybe?
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the updates on both of those, starting in about 4 minutes after this information segment right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just road work to watch out for. It's not causing any delays yet. 70 westbound past Zumbell. They've got the left lane closed already. 5570 eastbound between 64 and Exchange. There's the lane down. And we have road work 255 northbound at 5570. There's only one lane getting through. That'll be in effect until about 4 this afternoon. This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Dell Technologies Labor Day event is here. Start a season of productivity with up to 48% off Vostro laptops with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
She's a great conservative author, film producer, Nina May.
And I keep telling my liberal friends, I say,
You think you're going to escape this? No, this is exactly what totalitarian governments do. They start with the low-hanging fruit, and then they're going to go after you because they can't trust you. No, we're going to have to line you guys up against the wall and shoot you.
Wow. You have liberal friends?
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
Last week, President Joe Biden announced that the federal government would, with the stroke of his pen, forgive about $500 billion in student loan debt. This means that waitresses and laborers will be subsidizing the debt of doctors and lawyers, or worse yet, gender studies majors. And Biden's bailout of the woke universities is also unfair to those students who paid off their debt or whose parents worked second jobs to pay their tuition. The National Taxpayers Union estimates that the average taxpayer will pay about $2,085 for Biden's latest handout. Even some Democrats see that this is idiotic. Obama's chief economist, Jason Furman, criticized Biden's plan, saying, pouring roughly $500 billion of gasoline on the inflationary fire that is already burning is reckless. Voters need to send a clear message in November that this kind of fiscal insanity has to end. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
We need change in our country right now.
Live and local.
They clubbed us over the head for 2 years.
Yep. You want corruption? This is how we get corruption.
This is News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Hey guys, for your viewing pleasure, the president's going to give another national address this week, just so you know.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you all about it here in just a couple of minutes here.
Can't
It
wait.
is 6:20. I'm Mike Ferguson. 6:35. We haven't talked to Phil Kerpen in a while. Committee to Unleash Prosperity. He works with Stephen Moore and Steve Forbes and a lot of really, really high level conservative thinkers. He's going to be on with us here in about 15 minutes. He's got a new blog op-ed, I guess you could call it, saying, hey, during all of this financial and economic malfeasance that's happening right now, keep an eye on the other hand, so to speak, from the Biden administration. He says, watch them look to raid Medicare in order to pay for more Obamacare. And he's going to explain what that means. I'm Mike Ferguson from my home studio today. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here, got Ken Williams here. Get to the president's speech that's coming up where the White House says he's going to talk about the threats and the loss of our freedoms. We'll get to that in just about 60 seconds. Real quick, though, a court narrows a nationwide injunction against the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for federal contractors. So the Biden administration is still fighting to get the courts to declare that they have the power to impose these vaccine mandates. So Fox News' Kristen Goodwin has more.
A federal appeals court in Atlanta lifts a nationwide injunction against President Biden's mandate that federal contractors be vaccinated for COVID-19, finding it to be too broad. The requirement blocked since December when 7 states, including Georgia, sued over it. The appeals court panel ruling it can go back into effect for now, except in those states. The Biden administration argues it has broad authority over workplace safety guidelines for federal contractors. The appeals court disagreeing, but says the lower court judge in Georgia overstepped by applying a nationwide injunction. The Supreme Court in January blocking the administration's vaccine or test rule on businesses with at least 100 employees. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Okay, so while the Biden administration on one hand is working to make sure they have complete authority under the law, not the Constitution, but the law, to mandate things like vaccines and, set workplace policies and the privacy, the president's going to deliver a prime time address saying that our rights are under attack, warning us about this, guys.
Right. Wait. See, that's the really confusing thing about it is because the way they construct their language, you'd think they lived in like some sort of Dr. Seuss backwards world or something like that, where it's like everything they say is the exact opposite. Wait, what's the Porcelli principle again?
Yeah, it's called Etztoit. Everything they say, the opposite is true.
Right. So we're losing our rights not because of I don't know, us crazy semi-fascists over here who think freedom is important. It's because of the garbage that they're fighting for, like these mandates.
Right. And keep in mind, this stuff rolls down. You know, I mean, JB Pritzker and Sam Page watching intently and hoping for the Biden administration, because listen, they know that they're not going to get mass compliance with a vaccine mandate. They want the power to go in and enforce. And any time that government is given a power to enforce, they have to have some mechanism to enforce it. Otherwise, they have no legitimacy. And think about it. What would they be willing to do in order to enforce these things?
Yeah, there's so many cans of worms, I think, that are ready to be opened. The more they push to retain these powers, and it's only going to get worse from here if we leave that door open.
Right. So what's going to happen is Thursday, President Biden is going to deliver a primetime speech from Philadelphia about protecting democracy, and he is going to warn, according to White House.
Oh, I think you blinked out again, Mike. Did you time out?
Yeah, I think he did. And if Biden's speech coming up, Gabe, is anything like he's been talking, it's gonna consist of fascist MAGA extremists on the right, and that's you and me. I mean, it's anyone who supports the policies of Donald J. Trump. That's really what's going on.
Yeah, well, ultimately, leftist ideology stands in stark contrast to the way the right looks at the role of government, right? So what they're thinking of as fascists, and you've seen this before, is, when they call people like Ron DeSantis fascists for holding government accountable, for restricting government's ability to exert power. Hey, there's Mike again.
Yeah, I'm coming. I haven't been cleared to come back in the studio, but I'm coming back in the studio tomorrow, guys.
Okay.
Jeez. They bastardized, Mike. They bastardized that word fascist. I mean, they use it for everything. Absolutely everything.
Yeah. And let me, because I don't know where it went in the last minute or so here, but the speech, let's be honest, this is a campaign speech on behalf of all congressional candidate and incumbent Democrats. But it's going to be treated like a news event because the president is giving a national address. And, it's a weird thing because he's the president, like it or not, he's the president. So news organizations are kind of duty bound to cover it. But these are just campaign speeches. But it's amazing how they redefine what rights are at this point. Basically, if you oppose them, then you oppose rights. And so I'm actually going to go a little more in depth right around 7:05 on this, guys, just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
I'm going to connect this to the idea that Republicans could be losing their momentum going into the midterms. And I think it has to do with this. I think they want people talking about this and not what's actually happening right now. Got Dave here on the line. Hey, Dave, you're on News Talk STL.
Good morning, gentlemen, but let me address Mike. Mike, is that you, or has Mission Impossible got a hold of you, but you're not really you?
Yeah, I mean, I go on media, kind of in the, I guess, what as I heard a comedian say, I do just enough characters to avoid being myself. Yeah.
Well, hey, first of all, prayers to you, my friend. I'll keep throwing them to you. I hope your recovery is going well. That's the first most important thing I wanted to talk about. Then I got two other things, if you don't mind, if I throw out there.
Sure.
As you guys know, I study stuff hard, and I try to be on top of my game. Sometimes I lack. But none of us realize, or if I haven't heard anybody talk about it, did anybody realize that Liar, Jim Carrey's character in there, is Joe Biden? I didn't realize they knew years ago that was going to be not Mr. President, but Mr. Vegetable.
There you go.
It's incredible that they nailed it. That Joe Biden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all I can say, guys, is we just got to keep praying. We have to keep praying. And I before I turned the radio on, I think I was listening to, I don't know what it was, but anyway, they were talking about, and same thing you guys are talking about. Are other Republicans going to show up? Well, if we don't, the next thing we have to look forward to is communism.
Well, we'll do socialism first, Dave. Then
you know what? These folks go right for the throat, and that's the one thing I admire about them. They don't back down. They go straight ahead. And the wussies that we have on our side, well, we need to be gentlemanly. BS. Play their game against them, and I guarantee you, just like the bully in the schoolyard, when you call them out, they back down.
Somebody online, we were talking about, Mike, and you can get on this too, is online on Twitter. I was having an exchange with somebody. They were calling me a fascist. And I asked them to define the word, and they couldn't define it. They just said, no, you're just a fascist, you're racist, you're misogynist, la, 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 la. They gave me the whole thing. And I said, this is what we're heading to. They're only going to use the words. They're not going to use the actions. They're just going to try and use those words to muddy up the situation, really.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Dave, I do with people? Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Dave, what I'm going to do here at 7:05, I hope you're still listening then, is because everything you're talking about right here, and whether or not people are going to show up, the fact that they are so blatantly being dishonest intellectually about, rights under attack and pseudo-fascism and all this, they do not want us actually talking about and focusing on the actual reality of what's happening to people right now.
Yep.
Well, no, and Donald Trump said it many years ago. They don't want him. They want us. He's just in our way. And guys, I know you've talked about it and you think about it. It's absolutely scary what they've done to a former sitting president. And you guys have heard me say this before. I don't care when President Trump gets back in. I don't care if he gets anything done. You go after Obama. You go after Clinton. You go after the Bushes. You start investigating Daddy Bush to see if he killed Kennedy. You know what? Let's play the full gamut.
All right, Dave, appreciate you being on News Talk STL once again, and thank you so much also for the prayers. Matter of fact, after this information segment, guys, I'll just give you an update of what's going on, because I actually haven't talked to Ken and Gabe until this morning. But yeah, my face is weirder than normal. It's really bizarre. I'll tell you about that. We'll do that. Actually, let's do that at 6:50, because Phil Kerpen is going to be with us at 6:35, talking about sleight of hand with the money and the power. He's got the update for us just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. This is News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion from the voices you know and trust. News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. The city councilor's office has sent letters to Kia and Hyundai chastising the car manufacturers for failing to install an engine immobilizer in many of their vehicles. The city is now giving Hyundai and Kia until September 18th to make satisfactory progress to mitigate the public nuisance they've created, or else the city councilor's office will sue both companies. The St. Charles County Police Department is investigating a fatal crash at a railroad crossing in the northern part of the county. The driver of an SUV was killed near Dwiggins Road and Missouri Highway 94. Police said it appears the driver was trying to cross the tracks ahead of the freight train that was traveling east. The crash occurred at a crossing without an arm or gate that drops down when a train is approaching. A shooting near Jennings Junior and Senior High Schools briefly put the campuses on lockdown yesterday morning. No students were injured in the incident. When police arrived at the scene around 7 a.m., they found 2 people with gunshot wounds near the intersection of Shannon Avenue and Brookfield Drive. 2 other victims were found nearby. And in sports, the Cardinals beat the Reds 13-4 in Cincinnati last night after 2 rain delays. Albert Pujols hit home run 694 and in turn broke Barry Bonds' record for the most pitchers homered off of with 450. The Cards and Reds play again tonight at 5:40 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to newstalkstl.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Doing great so far. Everything looks good downtown. Headed for the bridges. We are fine on 70 East coming in from St. Charles County, 64, 44. You can take your pick as well coming in, and 55 North just getting busy in the construction zone in South St. Louis. 5570 eastbound. Watch out for some heavy traffic. 64 to Exchange. Left lane is closed for construction work there already this morning. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Fold 4. Galaxy Fold Z Fold 4 is here to change the way you get things done. Now you can browse social media while tuning into a video call, and with the same expansive foldable screen, you can use up to 3 apps at the same time. Visit Samsung.com today to order your Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature at 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
When you read financial news updates, popular headlines include inflation, 401ks, and taxes. But bottom line, it all comes back to the number one fear, which is running out of money. If you're close or in retirement, you have two big jobs: protect your life savings and create income for retirement. So how do you do that? You call Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group, and you put together a customized, comprehensive plan. Start checking off those boxes for income for life, tax-free retirement, and much more.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important thing that it is out there. It's what questions do you have?
Call today, 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
You know, when it comes to those personal financial decisions, there are very few at all that are going to be bigger than buying or selling a home. Maybe it's just for living, upsizing, downsizing, investment, whatever it is. You need people on your side who are going to fight for you, and that's Rodney and Jen. Mike Ferguson here for the Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. Of course, I talk about them all the time because I would not want anybody else fighting for me and fighting for my family. And I know you're thinking, whoa, ease up, Mike, cool your jets a little bit. We're just talking about buying a house. No. We're talking about a complicated process in a changing environment, a changing economy, and you need people to fight and advocate for you. Listen, there's a lot of people who are really good at going to their website and tell me what you're looking for. Oh, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, great. Backyard. Okay, you want that school district? Click, 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 click. Here you go. Look at me being a great real estate agent. But Rodney and Jen are going to say, listen, here's what the market's doing. Here's where the shifts are happening. This is what you need to know. And that is the type of person that I want on my side. Even if it's news to say, hey, listen, the markets aren't going the way you're going to want them. The timing is going to matter here. You want people who are passionate about helping your family reach your financial goals when it comes to real estate. And that's why I talk to Rodney and Jen whenever I need advice. That's who my wife and I are going through with the property project that we're dealing with right now. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, Columbo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs, including braces. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile Braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile, and incentives and insurance can lower the price even more. Plus, New Creation offers in-office financing. Learn more at newcreationdentalcare.com.
What happens next?
The FBI searched Donald Trump's Florida mansion.
Happens right here.
Show us what you found. A substantial number of people in the Republican Party are evil.
Crazy rhetoric. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
watch what the other hand is doing. That's, I guess, good information if you're trying to figure out what the illusionist is doing. Also good information when it comes to watching our politicians right now, who I guess you could say are kind of an illusionist anyway. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is 6:38. Joined now by Phil Kerpen from American Commitment. Phil, been a while since you've been on the program. Good to talk to you again. Interesting op-ed you just posted, and you can find this at americancommitment.org. Democrats want to raid Medicare to pay for Obamacare again. Yeah, I got to tell you, Phil, I just had a surgery just a little bit over a week ago. Well, 1 week ago today, actually. And so I'm getting an up-close look at our medical process and system. And I don't know that I've ever had less confidence in it than I feel right now. So when we talk about politicians basically losing or using sleight of hand, so to speak, to shift money around, what is it you're referring to, and how is this possibly going to affect us?
Well, this is the Build Back Better, Inflation Reduction Act. I think the official name ended up being an Act to Provide for Reconciliation under Resolution 14 or something like that. The spending bill that the president signed 2 weeks ago now, which seems like a million years ago now, because of course last week he decided to spend $1 trillion of taxpayer money on a student loan bailout, and so everyone's already forgotten about the bill that he signed the week before. But that bill basically has three sources of revenue and two ways that it spends all the money, and there are a lot of subcategories beneath those, but the ways that it spends all the money are a 3-year expansion of supersized Obamacare subsidies to insurance companies. The original 400% of the poverty level cap that was in Obamacare was lifted because of the COVID emergency. Depending on how much the premiums are where you live, there's no hard cap on the amount of income that you can make and still qualify for Obamacare subsidies. So in some areas with high premiums, people with 600, even more % of the federal poverty level are getting Obamacare subsidies. And of course, they concealed the cost of what they really want to do by doing that 3-year extension, when I think we all kind of know they want to make that permanent and do it forever. And then, of course, the rest of the spending in the bill was the Green New Deal stuff and the giveaways for electric cars and, for wind and solar and all the rest of that stuff. And so those were the two big areas where they spent the money. How'd they raise the money? Well, there are basically three ways that they raise the money that they spend in that bill. There's the new alternative minimum tax on businesses based on their financial statement income, which is going to cause all kinds of problems. There's the more than doubling of the size of the IRS, which has got a lot of attention, deservedly so. And then there's this quote unquote drug pricing reform, which has been sold as a positive to the public. We're going to make drugs less expensive, except that the way that they supposedly do that is they have the Secretary of HHS set the price for a number of drugs, and they impose inflation caps on how much the price of drugs can go up each year. What both of those will do over time is force down the amount of money that Medicare spends on prescription drugs, not through efficiency or through improvements in the program or anything like that, just by government dictate. And when you do that, you will inevitably hurt seniors, because you're going to spend $200 or $300 billion less on prescription drugs to siphon it out for unrelated federal spending. You're taking that money out of the Medicare program. You're not shoring up the Medicare program. You're just spending a lot less money on prescription drugs, which means fewer prescription drugs are going to be developed, fewer are going to be available and accessible in Medicare in a timely fashion, and seniors are going to suffer as a consequence of that. And if it seems like deja vu, that's because 12 years ago, that was one of the ways they paid for the original Obamacare, was they dipped into Medicare as a piggy bank. And you've already got people like Peter Welch, the Democrat from Vermont, saying that, this is the new precedent. And whenever they want to do more federal spending, they're just going to take money out of Medicare drug spending and, take it out of essentially out of the benefits that seniors have paid for. And it'll be a great way for them to, have that extra piggy bank for all the federal spending they want. So,
good morning,
in this bill, I think it's all bad, frankly. But that in particular, that aspect, I think, it's pretty outrageous how they've tried to sell it as a positive when I think it's going to be a pretty unambiguous negative.
Good morning, Phil. Gabe Pfeiffer here. I'm probably not alone in that I've never really understood the relationship between Obamacare and Medicare and how what the heck it's doing to our system. What's changing now that is going to negatively affect so many people?
Well, there's going to be a lot more subsidy eligibility in Obamacare. We've actually had that for the last 2 years, and what it's done is a lot of people have been losing their private insurance and going on to Obamacare, going on to Medicaid, which is kind of related because a lot of people sign up through the Obamacare websites, and if they qualify, they get put on Medicaid. And so what's happening is we've got more and more people going on the rolls of government healthcare programs that are paid for by taxpayers and losing their private insurance. And so we're moving very rapidly towards a more government-centered healthcare system, and it's got essentially no cost containment. And so premiums just keep going up and up and up. The last couple of years, healthcare utilization was down pretty dramatically because people didn't want to go to the doctor. They didn't want to go to the hospital. They were either scared of COVID or they didn't want to deal with the visitor restrictions and the masks and all the other stuff, or they just, they were lied to by the media and thought there wasn't room, and so they just didn't go. They stayed away. And by the way, we're paying a big price for that in terms of health outcomes because of all the things that were deferred for the last couple of years. But we should have had the benefit of health insurance premiums going down a lot because claims went down so much. We're at record low utilization. You would think premiums should have gone down a lot, and that really didn't happen for the most part. They mostly stayed about flat or even went up a little for the last couple of years. But what's happening now is people are starting to go back. Okay, they're starting to catch up on all the healthcare they missed during the pandemic. And the insurance companies went to Congress and they said, "Oh my God, look how much utilization is going up." Now they didn't mention that it's going up after it cratered, and it still hasn't even reached 2019 levels yet. But they said, "Oh, look how much it's going up. We're going to have to raise premiums through the roof, and you're going to have a political problem if you don't expand the Obamacare subsidies and protect people from our premium increases." And so Congress rushed; they fell over themselves to extend these massive supersized Obamacare subsidies up to very high income levels. And we're just gonna make the problem worse. It's the same thing that it's the exact same problem that we have in the student loan thing. The more government throws money at subsidizing something, the more expensive it becomes. And just like they were able to raise tuitions, over and over and over again, now because of Obamacare, we have this problem where they can just raise premiums over and over and over again because most of their customers aren't paying it. They're dumping the cost onto taxpayers through these subsidies. And so the marginal cost gets shifted to taxpayers. And if someone is not fortunate enough to qualify for subsidies, they've got these insane premiums. They've got high deductibles. They've got all of these associated problems. Now, Medicare is not directly affected by any of that in the sense that it's sort of a separate system that is, mostly for seniors, people with a number of defined conditions who are not yet seniors, but mostly for seniors. But it's been used as a piggy bank, as a pay for, as a way to get the money for all of those subsidies to get sent directly to insurance companies. And that was done in the original Obamacare bill. There were changes to the Medicare program to free up, I think, $700 billion or so that was siphoned out. And that affected the solvency date of Medicare. They don't directly affect, in this most recent bill. They just say, well, we're going to take money out of Medicare prescription drug benefits because everyone hates the drug company, so that's a good target, and we're going to use that to pay for the Obamacare subsidies and the Green New Deal stuff and all the rest of the things in this bill. But the idea that you can take $200 billion out of what Medicare spends on prescription drugs for seniors without hurting seniors, I find ridiculous. And I suspect that they're either going to have massive problems with the availability of new drugs in the Medicare program, or they're going to end up reversing those provisions, which don't take effect until 2026 anyway. And then they didn't pay for the bill. Then it all goes on the national credit card again, and their deficit scores were a lie, et cetera. And so in this particular bill, the relationship is that one was used to pay for the other, but they're otherwise not directly related.
You can find it at AmericanCommitment.org. Democrats want to raid Medicare to pay for Obamacare again, by Phil Kerpen. Phil, good to have you back on the program, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Have a good one.
And speaking of all the healthcare stuff, I'm going to give you an update on, me. and why I look so freaking weird right now. I'm telling you, Gabe, Ken, this is going to freak you out. I'll explain in about 4 minutes here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
We're in good shape this morning. We are starting to pick up a little volume on northbound 55 as you head into that work zone across the river to Pear in South St. Louis. 5570 eastbound between 64 and Exchange already had the left lane down for road work. 70 east is fine, headed for the Blanchette Bridge on in past Lambert this morning. It's the westbound side where we have the road work already just past Zumbel on 70. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Galaxy Z Fold 4 is here to change the way you get things done. Browse social media while tuning into a video call, and with the expansive foldable screen, you can use up to 3 apps at the same time. Visit Samsung.com today to order your Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Spend your Labor Day at the ballpark on Monday, September 5th. The Cardinals host the Nationals. That day, 25,000 fans, ages 16 and older, will take home one of 2 exclusive Cardinals patriotic bucket hats. You won't know which one you'll get until you walk through the gates of Busch Stadium. That's Monday, September 5th. The Cardinals, the Nationals, and the mystery patriotic bucket hat. Great seats remain. Get yours today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Yo, it's your favorite artist, Seals. Meet me at the ballpark on Monday, September 5th for African American Heritage Day. With the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals cap designed by me. Come early for a pregame Heritage celebration in the Budweiser Terrace. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/theme. Ski!
Do you have a property that is more hassle than is worth? Hi, this is David with House Sold Easy, and I buy houses cash. If you own a property and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-293-3000. Do you own an ugly property, a behind on mortgage payment property, a lazy tenant that won't pay rent property, a too much junk and clutter property, or even a, hey, I'm curious about a fair cash offer property? Well, don't worry. I buy them all, and I want to make you a fair cash offer. Call me at 314-293-3000.
Mike Ferguson is brought to you in part by Brenton Vision, where LASIK equals freedom. Call Brenton Vision at 314-375-2020 or go to BrentonVision.com today. Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon.
This is Jimmy Fallon, inviting you to join me on Fox Across America, baby.
Weekdays at 11 on 94.1 and weeknights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Join us on the big bad one and only Fox Across America.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You know, sometimes saying things that sound trite just don't cover it. Like when I've been, texting and emailing, Gabe and Ken and Susie and Tony and Jeff and everybody at the station. Thank you so much for, kind of stepping up while I've been out dealing with this surgery that I had to have done last week. And I really mean that sincerely. So let me kind of give you an update of what's going on. And this part of this is really creepy, guys. It's 6:52 right now. By the way, I'm Mike Ferguson with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams. So for those of you who didn't know where I was, I had a detached retina, which happened, almost 2 weeks ago, I guess. And so last Tuesday, I ended up having an operation on my eyes, and I had the retina reattached on the one eye, and then the other eye, they're like, yeah, there's a few weak spots, nothing imminent, but while we've got you under anesthesia, we're just going to go ahead and do some preventative stuff. So on my left eye, they did a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff. And the thing is, they said, yeah, you're going to have some bruising and stuff. You ever go through a surgery and like, yeah, it's going to be kind of bruised up, going to look like you got in a fight. Ha ha. You guys ever had anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
From my nose.
Oh my goodness. My eyeball literally is completely black right now.
What?
Not just around. I mean, I look like a drunken panda because of the black eye that I've got because of us, but literally my eyeball is black.
And
not
that's
like
normal though, right?
Well, I won't really know for 2 to 6 months. It'll be a month or two before I start getting any sight back in the left eye. But they're like, yeah, it'll be 6 months before we really know how much sight, if any, that I got back. But because of all the stuff they did, because they put this band behind my eyeball to kind of shore it up, and they put this gas bubble literally in my eye. I actually have a wristband on that they put on me when I was under anesthesia that, to, I guess, interpret the medical terminology, it's like, don't let this guy in an airplane. There's a gas bubble in his eye, and he's not allowed to be on an airplane. And so I've got this wristband now because I'm at the stage of life now, apparently, where I have a medical wristband.
No.
Yes. So I don't know how long that's supposed to last, which is why they've told me I had to stay face down this past week, was because they wanted that gas bubble floating up and pushing up against the detached retina to kind of hold it in place.
So, Mike, you had mentioned real quick in passing, I think, on the air that you were going to come in tomorrow. You're not coming in. What we're going to do is we're going to figure out a way to make that work regularly.
Yeah.
We'll get the engineers involved, but you're not driving. You're not coming in here. So
It's so frustrating because, I actually stayed off of social media news and everything just because I didn't want to, think about it. And I just needed to focus on just, healing up, doing what the doctor said I just should be doing. And I put this video out. Was it I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
right after your surgery.
Right after the surgery. And I felt pretty good, and I still had the eye patch and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to have the eye patch for a while. And then the next day, holy cow, I woke up and my face was swollen like you would not believe. And it is still that way. But because I've got these eye drops that they want me to, put in 3-4 times a day, or my wife puts them in. And I can't see or feel. So I need her to tell me if they actually hit the mark.
Wow.
And then I went in to the bathroom, and I just kind of looked in the mirror, and I'm like, whoa, I think my eye is open, but I don't see anything.
Wow.
Oh man.
And so I went and kind of looked, I'm like, no, my entire eyeball is literally I did not know your eyeball can get bruised. Or maybe it's just so bloodshot, that's what it is. But it's not even a cool movie villain kind of black eye. I mean,
so you're sitting there comparing your eye to a villain's eye. Okay.
And it's not even that cool.
Right.
It's like,
that's true. You always want, if you're going to get a scar or something, you want it to be a cool scar, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same thing. If you're going to get some sort of a surgical injury, disfigurement, you want it to have a slightly cool bent to it. But it'll heal up, Mike. It'll heal up.
Tell me, because right now I'm like, I could be half a zombie for all I know.
Well, with the prayers you're getting, your eye is going to be coming back. Okay, but don't tempt fate and act like you're going to be coming in here, because you really shouldn't, Mike. It's just not worth it.
I don't disagree with I shouldn't.
Well, okay. Well, then listen to your wife, because, and I don't mean me. I'm talking about your actual wife,
not your work wife.
Right. Your actual wife.
I've mentioned little baby Margot, who lives next door, door neighbors. She's like 9 months old now, and she always giggles and loves to come over to Aunt Rachel and Uncle Mike. They call me Michael. Uncle Michael's house. They sat her on my lap the other day, and she looked at my eye and started crying.
Oh,
I'm like, no,
oh man,
Margot.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. All right, just ahead here, and I'm telling you, somebody's not going to like what I have my take on this. Are the Republicans losing their midterm momentum going into the elections? I'm going to argue that they might be, And I think it's by, frankly, falling into a Democratic trap. And I know some people aren't going to like it, but we're going to talk about it in just a minute.
Hey, Columbo here, and many of you know that one of my favorite things to do when I have some free time is to get out on the water and go fishing. And the folks at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton are the people you should see before your next fishing trip. No matter what you're fishing for, they have everything you need, from gear to lures to live bait. Plus, they can even set you up on a guided fishing tour on the Mississippi River. Make sure the tackle box is ready for your next trip by visiting Bluff City Outdoors at 2813 East Broadway in Alton and BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Stay top of mind with your customers, stand out from the competition, and drive productivity with a podcast for your business from Epic STL Podcasts. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Southern Ukraine, the focus of intense fighting as the Ukrainian military launches an offensive across a broad front. The defenders claim success in fresh attacks on Russian positions.
The British Defence Ministry said that as of early Monday, several brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces have increased the weight of artillery fires in front-line sectors across southern Ukraine. Meanwhile, a UN nuclear watchdog team has arrived in Kiev and is further preparing a mission to safeguard the endangered Russian-occupied Zaporizhia atomic plant from a nuclear catastrophe. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Iraq shaken by stepped-up political violence. At least 30 people reportedly killed in the latest round of bloodshed centered on Baghdad's Green Zone. Do not drink the water. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves' plea to residents of Jackson, Mississippi, the city's water treatment plant knocked out by massive flooding that has left Jackson with little to no drinking water. Reeves says the state will start distributing potable water later in the morning.
Replacing our largest city's infrastructure of running water with human distribution is a massively complicated logistical task. We need to provide it for up to 180,000 people for an unknown period of time.
The governor declaring a state of emergency to get the Jackson water treatment plant back online. Police in Bend, Oregon say the gunman who opened fire in a supermarket the other day, killing 2 people before taking his own life, was a 20-year-old man from Bend who was known for getting into fights at the high school he graduated from a couple of years ago. Watching Wall Street, stock futures pointing to a higher open this morning. The Dow futures up 195 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 124. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Factor pain relief. It's natural pain relief that works and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain.
That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Angie's List is now Angie, your home for everything home. With Angie, you could cross your next project off your to-do list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need and we'll handle the rest. Sending a top pro to get it done. Or browse reviews, compare quotes from pros, and connect instantly. All for free. For everything from routine maintenance to a dream.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
2 crashes causing some pretty major issues for us this morning. First up at 64 westbound past Illinois 111. We've got the right lane closed, 6 to 8 vehicles involved in that one with injuries. The highway was shut down, so it's pretty much a halt back to I-255. Our other crash is 270 eastbound between Lindbergh and 170, right in the construction zone. Right lane is closed, so that traffic is backing up as well. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. The brand new Galaxy Z Flip 4 is finally here. Capture hands-free content from every angle with Flex Mode. The sleek foldable design lets you make your device conveniently compact. Visit Samsung.com to order your Galaxy Z Flip 4 today. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature is 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and the humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance. Paid for by AIS Insurance.
800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. 800-721-5741. That's 800-721-5741.
The candidates.
We're going to win this campaign.
The issues.
Gas prices, Biden inflation.
The election news, analysis, and opinion you won't get anywhere else. Decision 2022 happens.
There's a backlash coming
on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
One of the comments on Rumble just now, Maddie says she knows that Rosie is happy to have me home with her for the last week. Rosie's our cat, by the way, and it is amazing. I am one of those who is convinced that your pets know when something's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Rosie has not left my side at all. I mean, because I've been sleeping downstairs on the sofa because I've had to keep my face in a certain way, and it was just easier to do that on that sofa. And I mean, she's either sleeping on top of the sofa watching me, or she has jumped down on the back of my legs and slept on top of me like this entire week, never leaving my side.
Aww,
So
that's so sweet.
Yep, Maddie, that is exactly what's happening. All right.
Hey, Mike, real
yes,
quick,
sir.
I got to cite something real quick because I had
Yep.
my foot work done to I had a biopsy in my foot. And so they stitched it up.
Yeah.
And my dog, who's kind of hyperactive all the time, he's lately been coming up, sniffing my foot, and then laying on it.
They know.
They know.
Yeah, they know stuff. Yep.
They know.
And the specially trained ones can, I mean, they're kind of wild. The medically trained animals, they can smell diseases on you and they'll signal for that kind of stuff. So it's wild, their capabilities.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. 7:07 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. I got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Ken Williams here. 7:35. Anthony Davies. He's half of the hosting team of the Words and Numbers podcast. This thing's really, really big. And I know there's a lot of people who listen to this show probably also check out Words and Numbers. So Anthony's going to be with us looking over the student loan forgiveness push. Remember, the president, this is just their first salvo into this. They don't want to stop here. This is their compromise. And this is the compromise with their extreme left because they want to wipe everything out. And then, hey, why stop there? There's already talk about canceling other debts as well. So what could possibly go wrong with that? Anthony is going to equip us with kind of the not just the talking points, but the information so that when you've got, some 25-year-old goes, that sounds great. I'm going to go buy a car now. See, it's stimulating the economy. You're going to be able to say, yeah, no, here's the reality of this, Junior. And so that's at 7:35. You do not want to miss that conversation. Okay, so I was listening to your all's conversation with Dick Morris from yesterday's show. And we played that back at 5:35. And one of the things he said to you all jumped out at me. And he talked about Republicans losing some of the momentum possibly going into these elections because, we have been warning, and I've been warning, and you guys have been warning that do not assume that because Biden administration and his policies suck, that this is a guaranteed rollover win for the Republicans. There's a lot that can happen in a short amount of time. And Dick Morris said something to the effect of, you can't focus on feelings. You've got to win policies because policies win elections. And what's happening right now is that it looks like, and if you disagree with me, tell me, the Republicans are losing sight of the policies.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's, school choice, we saw what happened in Virginia, whether it is the economy and inflation and everything. And right now, there's a lot of people who are really mad. And I'm not saying it's not rightfully so to be mad about the whole thing with Mar-a-Lago, but I'm starting to wonder, are they playing right into the Democrats' hands? Because I've said before that if Republicans allow the 2022 elections to become about anything other than 2022, if they allow it to become about Donald Trump, if they allow it to become about 2024, they allow it to become about anything else, then there is a chance that they don't have the big gains and there's a chance that they actually lose. But if the Republicans keep the focus on what's happening right now, how bad that these left-wing extremist policies are hurting people, then the Republicans are in a really good position to take back control of the House and the Senate and actually do something about it. But I think that it's been said that the Republicans are the party of stupid and the Democrats are the party of evil. I'm not saying that, but if that's the case, it looks like they may be being bested by the left and falling into their trap a little bit.
Yeah, I think, Mike, I think you're right in that assessment. I'm not sure why anybody would be mad about it, but I think Republicans have been easily distracted, and I think that's historical. For a long time, Democrats have managed to get us into fights that we probably shouldn't be in. We tend to be reactionary because we don't like to move on things. So it's Democrat actions that are causing us to say something, them going too far in one direction or the other. So what we end up having is this a slap fight about something that isn't actually going to move the needle when it comes to the election. And that's where we kind of drop the ball. So I actually think your assessment there is right.
I know that Trump, he's of course talking relitigating 2020, but you've got DeSantis out there. They're always on him now because they know he's a possible contender as well, and he is sticking to the actual problems that we're having with inflation and with CRT and all. I've been following him very closely, and he's trying to stay the path. And then you've got other people. You've got Rand Paul talking about, Dr. Fauci, and a couple of other people. I think there are a lot of leaders that are trying to stick to the program and try and keep, Mike, about inflation and all that. But yeah, a lot of people are talking about the past, I think.
Yeah, we need to be talking about what's happening right now. And this goes for local stuff as well. I mean, Matt, a year and a half ago, it was just unheard of that anybody would vote to reelect somebody who shut down your church, shut down your business, literally drug you into court if you dared to try to go to the gym, all this kind of stuff. But now we're looking at a situation where Sam Page is coasting to victory as it looks right now. J.B. Pritzker not really being challenged by Darren Bailey as much as he could be. Hopefully that'll turn around. I think Bailey actually could make a run at J.B. Pritzker, especially downstate. But what's happening is voters, and I'm not talking about the people who really consume the news, like the people who listen to this program that we talk to every day, 314-912-1019, by the way. I'm talking about people who just go about their lives. Things suck. We can't buy as much stuff. We can't do that vacation this year. And memories get very, very, very short. And when we kept the focus on gas prices are double what they were a year and a half ago, you can't find groceries. You can't find your kids' shoes. You can't find all these things. And we all know where these came from. Your business was shut down. You're not sure about that medical treatment or decision. Too bad. Government says so. You keep that focus right there. And then the Republicans are in a very good position to win in a midterm. And I'm not saying that because I want Team Red to win over Team Blue. I'm saying is what Team Blue is doing has to be stopped. So we've got to keep our eye on the ball. And I think that there might be some people who are taking their eye off the ball.
I want Team Red to be beating the pants off of Team Blue, by the way.
Yeah.
But I understand from your perspective what you're saying, but I think we also need to not forget what did happen. We do have to focus on what's going on currently. I was talking with a Democrat the other day this weekend at a birthday party, and it was someone who said she was Democrat, not left, not liberal, whatever. And she said, we vote Democrat. My family's Democrat. And I said, well, have you noticed like gas prices and all? Oh yeah. I've noticed inflation. I've noticed the grocery store and everything. I'm not voting Biden. There's no way.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking, I'm like, well, I said, yeah, I even said, that's really interesting. You just said you're Democrat. She said, yeah, but I don't care who it is in that office. If they're making my prices go this high, I don't care who they are. They're not getting my vote.
And see that right there, what you just said, Ken, I think backs me up when I'm saying that's where the focus has to be. That's where the headline should be. Mainstream media does not want the focus on that, on what your friend or whoever it was you were talking to.
It was my nephew's friend. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We were just talking.
Yeah. And so they don't want that. They want to talk about the inflammatory stuff that gets, the far side of each party, fired up, of each movement fired up. That's what they want to bait people into, when the focus should be on exactly that. It's far more expensive to live right now, and people aren't keeping up.
Yeah, there's an argument for that for sure, Mike.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right.
Nope, he cut out again.
All right. Well,
so Gabe, let's take it to a break.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got an information break coming up here, and when you come back, Mike, we'll be back in the driver's seat here. We'll be working on all these technical difficulties as best we can, but you're going to stick around because I'm sure there's plenty more to discuss here. This is 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
And all at once depart no destination, making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up,
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Some pretty major delays if you're coming in from the Collinsville area this morning. 64 westbound west of 111. They're working with a multi-vehicle crash. This is actually two separate incidents with 6 to 8 vehicles involved. They're still blocking the right lane. Fire EMS, tow, all on the scene. Traffic is at a halt back east of 255. Gives yourself plenty of time. 270 eastbound before 170. We've got a crash in the right lane. That traffic is backed up across Lindbergh. 55 northbound Bayless up to Gasconades. Already heavy and slow this morning. We're picking up heavy traffic east 64 approaching Big Bend and south 170 approaching 64 as well. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. The Z Fold 4 is here to change the way you get things done. Now you can browse social media while tuning into a video call. And with the expansive foldable screen, you can use up to 3 apps at the same time. Visit Samsung.com today to order your Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, at southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Kurtman, host of the Paul Kurtman Show on News Talk STL, but I'm also the president of PR Kurtman Investments. The market is down and inflation is up. So if you have questions about the investments in your portfolio, please let me help. Just send me an email by visiting freedomportfolios.com. There's no cost. The market might be uncertain, but that doesn't mean you should be too. Contact me today, Paul Kurtman, by visiting freedomportfolios.com.
For $1 a day, if any covered appliance breaks in your home, we guarantee to fix or replace it. All makes and models, washers, dryers, refrigerators, air conditioners, and more. Guaranteed to be fixed or replaced for $1 a day. Call the Home Service Club now for free information.
800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. 800-399-3701. That's 800-399-3701.
Fox News commentary.
Nearly 4.9 million illegal aliens have entered the USA since January 2021. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the population of the entire country of Ireland. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Now is the time to diversify your investments with gold and silver to protect your retirement. Hi, it's Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Bishop Gold Group sells physical gold and silver delivered to your door or put directly in your IRA. Call Bishop Gold Group and tell them Lisa Booth sent you to receive a silver gift on your first order. Dial pound 250 from your mobile phone and mention keyword Bishop Gold or go to bishopgoldgroup.com. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from Bishop Gold Group.
Immigration watchdog group, the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Since Biden took office, our border has seen 3.9 million illegal crossings and roughly 900,000 undetected gotaways. That isn't just a problem for border cities and states, it's an American problem. Beyond just the illegal immigrants pouring in to stress our courts, law enforcement, schools, and pocketbooks, there are also high amounts of deadly drugs being trafficked in. Whether these people are simply coming for work or a better life or with nefarious and criminal intentions, it's not sustainable. I feel for these people and understand why they're coming, but it isn't fair to ask legal immigrants and American citizens to foot this bill or deal with this influx. Where is Joe Biden? Where is Border Czar Kamala? Those tasked with protecting the integrity of our nation are asleep at the wheel or just quite frankly don't care. Build the wall, enforce the border. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
The news and talk.
This Mar-a-Lago raid brings it all into the sunlight.
That matters to St. Louis.
They're talking nonstop about civil war.
News, analysis, opinion.
Easy rhetoric doesn't do anything to help this country.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
You've noticed that around election time, guys, that a lot of times the successful politicians, I mean, just by winning those who win elections, they go for that sort of lowest emotional denominator.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Student loan forgiveness. Well, that's definitely going to fire up a younger voting base who tend to be liberal when they're younger, right? We talked to Phil Kerpen from American Commitment earlier today. He's talking about, can you imagine being the one who wants to sue to stop the Biden administration when they're saying, hey, we're going to lower your prescription drug costs? Never mind that the money to do that's going to be taken from somewhere else, which is going to raise the cost of medical care for pretty much everybody else. And so you've got all of these things that have an emotional appeal. It's just taking money from somewhere else. Not a new pattern, guys. Gabe, this is nothing new, but it is targeted as we head into a midterm election where the Democrats know their backs are up against the wall right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're trying to talk about anything other than the results of their massive policy failures. And I think going back to our conversation with Dick Morris from yesterday, there's a lot to be said about using the emotion of it as a springboard, but having some place to land in terms of policy, in terms of okay, this is how we're going to fix this for you. This is why we're in the condition we are, and this is how we have a better way. And I think we need to make sure that we actually can do that.
There's a prevailing wisdom that says, you know what, voters just don't pay that much attention. Just make the emotional plea and you're going to win. And I think for some voters that may be the case, especially if they tend to be just, we vote Republican, we vote Democrat or whatever. But when harder questions come out to say, who's paying for this, like with the student loan forgiveness thing, and we're going to talk to Anthony Davies about this in about 12 minutes or so. The people are saying, wait a minute, we know very well that bad policy increases my cost of living. I end up paying for this. So it is right for Republicans to go, this is unjust. Who has to pay for that? Why are you making other people pay for this? The vice president was asked about this yesterday. Again, guys, tell me if you actually hear an answer to the question in this comment when she's asked about who's actually going to pay for this.
Who specifically is footing the bill for student loan forgiveness? We haven't gotten a concrete answer from the administration yet.
Well, let's start with this. First of all, a lot of the same people who are criticizing what we rightly did in following through on a commitment that we made to forgive student loan debt are the same people who voted for a tax cut for the richest Americans. So when we look at who is benefiting from this, 90% of the people who are going to benefit from student loan forgiveness make under $75,000 a year. And that debt has been the reason that they're unable to start a family, buy a home, and pursue their piece of the American dream.
By the way, those tax cuts worked, by the way.
I would suggest that you should expect to never get an answer from Kamala Harris.
I'll say this though for her, as nonsensical of a word soup and word salad as she's often guilty of putting together on the spot. That was actually a masterful little deflection there, political deflection there, because she went from, okay, the people who oppose this are bad,
right,
and right into here are the people who are going to benefit,
right?
Yep.
And here's the problems that are going to be solved. He's like, oh, and here's the empathy that you need to have for those people.
And the reporter's eyes glazed over.
Yeah, well, all of our eyes glazed over, and we sought the release of sweet death. But she really did that. I mean, and it's kind of a masterful way of manipulating people, because there are some people who are going to hear that answer and they're going to go, yeah, those stupid rich people got those tax cuts, so we struggling people deserve some money from the government as well. It also speaks to a problem of the perception of where the money comes from and where the money goes into the government. A tax cut is when the government doesn't take money that's already yours. And this forgiveness program is basically them taking more of your money to give to somebody else.
And Mike, that's why you're never going to hear an answer, because they can't answer that question. If they do, that incriminates them.
I think it was Thomas Sowell who said, I'll never understand why it's greed to want to keep the money you've earned, but it's not greed to want to take the money that somebody else has earned.
Yes, that's Thomas Sowell. Then it's beautifully put, because that's exactly how it works. And people don't think of it that way. They think of the government as basically some entity that simply has money and they're just hoarding it. And the politicians are deciding who gets it, as opposed to the government is a gigantic parasite that feeds off of the public and then deigns to redistribute what it's eaten from us.
And I just want to interject here and say that, from one of the people that money is being taken from, I wish I could hoard money, but I can't. I don't have it.
I don't have enough.
Well, did you also notice that it's just assumed in this case by Kamala Harris and by many others on the left? Well, if we don't allow this, if we don't do this, then other people can't live their lives. They can't contribute to the economy. They can't start she actually said they can't start a family because of student loan debt.
It's so
I mean,
weird.
basically it's the extension of we are all subjects of a government that benevolently allows us some things and doesn't allow other things.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's it.
And that's who's running the country right now. And that's
there it is.
And that's what's up for a vote in November.
Yes.
Now, I'm not wild about every single Republican nominee out there. Don't get me wrong. And there are. I'm glad that our primary election on the Missouri side went the way that it did. And on the Illinois side, I'm glad that the Republicans got the nominee that they've got there. I'd love to see him be able to compete more. But at the core of it, when you're talking to your nephew's friend, like Ken was doing, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. You're talking to somebody just anywhere. That's the core of it right now, is they are making you poorer and then saying, but we're going to take from somebody else to help you out, and creating this exacerbation of politics of envy. Whereas what was working before, when they talk about, tax cut for the rich, were you doing better at that time? Well, yeah. Okay, they were working.
Yes.
By government getting smaller and staying out of the way.
Yeah, that juxtaposition between those two things needs to be, I think, at the forefront. As much as I would actually prefer a different candidate than Trump,
Sure.
I want Trump to focus on that. It's like, hey, kind of a "did you miss me" sort of of message, where it's like, hey, this is what life was like in 2019 before I got waylaid by the white coat mafia to shut down a booming economy, and here's what you have now under Biden, who said, I'm going to shut down the virus and restart America, right? And here we are.
Yeah, and I want Trump, but I do want him to focus on what we're missing. What I want him to say, like you just said, Gabe, I want him to step up and say, hey, do you miss me? Do you miss what we had before? Well, I can give it to you again.
I want him to say that after November.
Yes, after November.
Yes.
I totally agree.
You're right, because 2022 is the important election right now, and we need to focus on that one.
Yep.
All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper on this. Anthony Davies from the really popular Words Number podcast going to be with us at 7:35 here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on Newstalk STL. Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is Newstalk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 101.9, 94.1, and NewstalkSTL.com.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasovich. Governor Mike Parson's administration shut down access yesterday to a website that allows Missourians to track who is winning potentially lucrative state contracts. In an announcement posted on an Office of Administration's procurement website, officials say a new law is forcing them to remove contract award information from public access for privacy reasons. A FEMA Disaster Recovery Center will open at the Urban League Empowerment Center on West Florissant Avenue today to provide one-on-one assistance to flooding victims. The center will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week. Preventative maintenance of the Lindbergh Tunnel's jet fans started yesterday at Lambert Airport. There will be closures every day through Thursday this week of either the right or left lanes, depending on which cell of the tunnel they are working on that day. The work will last from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily. In case of inclement weather or unforeseen circumstances, Friday will also be used as an additional workday. Now through Friday, the elevator at the Central West End Metrolink station will be out of service due to construction work. After the elevator reopens, the staircase from Euclid Avenue to the platform will temporarily close through the end of the weekend. And the Great Forest Park Balloon Race and Balloon Glow will be returning to the Emerson Field September 16th and 17th. The event will be celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Crews have been on the scene for quite a while now of a crash involving multiple vehicles, at least one of which rolled over on 64 westbound past 111. That traffic is at a halt almost back to 157, about a 15 to 16 minute additional delay. 55 northbound Bayless up through Gasconade, give yourself 10 extra minutes to get through the work zone. 270 eastbound past Lindbergh, we've got one that's mostly on the right side, but there's not much of a shoulder in that work zone. This report sponsored by Dell Technologies. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Dell Technologies Labor Day event is here. Start a season of productivity with up to 48% off Vostro laptops with 12th gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature is 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The reason that you need to buy a home or sell a home are as varied as every other aspect of your life. And I think a lot of people forget that. Mike Ferguson here for the Walner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. And that's why you should call Rodney and Jen at 314-810-SOLD. For instance, my wife and I, we're looking at some properties, Southeast Missouri, and we want to get away. You know, someplace we can travel an hour or so and just get away on weekends, or maybe have a place to go on holidays, or who knows, maybe even make it an Airbnb. So I called Rodney and Jen saying, here's what I'm looking at. And you know, the thing was, they told me what the market was going to be doing months down the road when it comes to housing, and they were right. And so I trust Rodney and Jen. You should too. There is a difference. Call them. 314-810-SOLD. Do what I did. Just call 314-810-SOLD and get their advice. They will answer the phone. I've mentioned this before, and I think a lot of people didn't realize this. You're not calling their call center. You're not calling their automated service. They'll pick up the phone, and you're going to talk to Rodney or you're going to talk to Jen and say, listen, I heard about you on News Talk STL. I've got a question for you. They will help. You don't have to sign a contract to get some advice from them. They are going to help. Talk to them for a few minutes, and you're going to realize there's a big difference. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I tell you, the Biden administration really hopes that politically this is a big win because they're making the economic argument that we are just taking tens of thousands of dollars of debts and billions and trillions and zillions, and we're just wiping it away, and therefore our economy is going to be shored up. See how easy that is? And Republicans, though, calling for action against the president's plan to forgive student loan debt. Fox News' Kevin Corke has an update for us before we get a chance to talk to Anthony Davies.
There are 94 Republican lawmakers who are calling on the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, to take action against President Biden's, quote, unconstitutional and illegal student loan forgiveness plan. Just the latest twist in a saga that some have called a forgiveness program and others have called footing the bill for somebody else's debt. This is an illegal act by a president desperate for a political win. We hope you'll heed your own words and act to defend the Constitution and the rule of law. Now, again, that's from 94 GOP lawmakers led by Jody Hice of Georgia.
Okay, now the chances of the Speaker of the House reading that letter and going, oh, they're right, I've got to do something about this, are somewhere between slim, none, and snowball in hell. So let's get away from the political side of it right now and talk about what this really means to all of us. I'm joined now by Anthony Davies. Professor Davies is one of the co-hosts of the Words and Numbers podcast. If you haven't checked it out, you really ought to. A lot of thought-provoking stuff there. And Anthony, first of all, appreciate you being on the program. Secondly, let's just talk about the reality of this for somebody to say, well, I mean, for instance, my daughter is 23 and somebody's saying, hey, we're just going to chop off $10,000 of debt. Boy, that sounds great. That would definitely help her. Why is this something that is such a bad idea?
Yeah, it's a lie, and politicians who are saying it know it's a lie. They talk about wiping out the debt as if it just disappears. Look, the fact of the matter is these students were supposed to pay this money back to, in most cases, the federal government, and now they're not going to pay it back to the federal government. So what happens? The federal government in the future ends up with less money, which means either we get less government services, or we have to pay more taxes, or they print money, in which case we suffer inflation. But no matter how you cut it, what's really happened here is that the politicians have lifted the burden of student loan off the shoulders of students and put it squarely onto the shoulders of all the rest of Americans.
Good morning, Anthony. Gabe Pfeiffer here. I've heard also that the predictions would, if they're borne out as they usually are, say that this is going to cause borrowing for useless degrees, essentially, to increase, that this is going to exacerbate the problem in the future.
Oh, it's going to get worse than that. The first thing you're going to see is next year there's going to be a spike in tuition because colleges and universities across the country have discovered that they can raise their tuition and students are still going to sign up. Why? Because the students don't care. They're not paying the bill. Someone else is going to pay it. So you're going to see tuition go through the roof, and then you're going to see a proliferation of majors that don't require the students to do much work. Why? We're going to attract in students who are looking for a free 4-year vacation.
Hey, Anthony, what about the argument being made, and we played a soundbite from the vice president a little bit earlier, who says, yeah, but the student loan debt is crushing them. They can't start businesses. They can't buy other consumer goods. This is going to help the economy because instead of paying that money back to the government, they're going to be able to go buy something else, maybe even a home. So explain, because I think that's going to be one of the big arguments that supporters are going to say, and our listeners are going to hear that probably as much or more as anything else.
Sure. And the problem there is it's true, but it's only half the truth. For every dollar that the students now have that they can spend on whatever it is, starting a business or buying a home or a car or whatever, If for every $1 they have because of student loan forgiveness, the rest of us have $1 less. So we all have less ability to start businesses, less ability to buy houses and buy cars. All the government's done has shifted this debt from one group of people to another. And that's where it gets really sad, because ultimately what's happening here is the government is going to be forcing people who didn't go to college to pay for people who did.
That's an amazing thing for the administration to absorb politically. I would think there seems to be quite a bit of backlash as well, where the public is asking these questions and they're framing it in a moral way. Also, is it fair that the 70% of Americans who did not go to college have to foot this bill? Do you think they'll survive that sort of scrutiny?
I don't know, because the thing here is politicians are not looking to do what's right economically. They're looking to get elected. And this is a huge way to effectively buy a bunch of votes. That's what's happening here. They're buying the votes of college students and young high school students who are looking forward to participating in this loan forgiveness in the future. If they had done this by just handing checks to people, that would be illegal. But when you use someone else's money to buy the vote, apparently that's perfectly fine.
We're visiting with Anthony Davies. You've got to check out the Words and Numbers podcast at some point, and we have linked to the Facebook page for that on our Facebook as well. So be sure to check that out. One of the things I think that it's clearly got an emotional appeal. You just mentioned it, Anthony. College students, recent graduates, people look at that debt, say, man, $300, $400, $500, $600 a month that I'm going to have to pay. I get the emotional appeal for this. And I think a lot of times people hear the economy and they don't know what that actually means, but they sure know what inflation means right now. So is there another or any other possible unintended consequences that could come in addition to, well, more inflation means prices go up even more, your dollar doesn't go as far? Any other things we need to watch for if this actually takes?
Well, I think the big thing we're going to be seeing is both inflation and higher taxes. Of course, politicians don't like raising taxes, but this is going to be a really expensive program. And I think the thing we got to be careful of is we're talking right now about forgiving $10,000 in student loan debts, and this is a one-shot deal. And it sounds more palatable that way. But what's going to happen is next year, the next group of students are going to have their handout, and then the next and the next, and then it's going to be, well, why is it 10,000? It should be 20 or it should be 30. And before you know it, we're going to have the federal government completely financing higher education. And here comes the big unintended consequence. When that happens, politicians are going to decide, well, we're paying the bill for higher education. We should have a say in what's going on in higher education. And then you've got public school 2.0.
Yeah, that's all kinds of lousy stuff. And that's plenty of time over the course of 2 or 3 years to separate out this debate from the next sort of debate that happens. That could have to do with everything from Title IX to religious freedom and everything in between. One of the arguments, I know we just got a minute or so left here, Professor Anthony Davies, has to do with, well, but now it's time to crack down on the schools because the schools keep jacking up the tuition. And you just referenced that a little bit ago. Now, I think there's plenty of room for schools to be checked when it comes to how they're doing, doing their business, but they're responding to incentives. So what about the argument that, well, part of this is we're going to crack down on these outrageous tuition hikes and we're going to make college affordable again for everybody?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Whenever there's a problem in the economy, people ask, what can the government do to fix it? We rarely ask, what can the government stop doing that's causing the problem? In this case, the hike in tuition we've seen over the past 20, 30 years is due directly to the government intervening, attempting, quote unquote, to make education affordable. When the government provides money to higher education sops that up in the form of higher tuition. The best thing that we could do right now, if you really want to improve higher education, is pass a law saying that the universities themselves have to underwrite the loans to the students. That will cause them tomorrow to become laser focused on producing students who have high market value.
Wow. All right. Anthony Davies, where do we find the Words Numbers podcast and wherever else that you are publishing? Also, Milton Friedman, Distinguished Fellow at the Foundation for Economic Education. So people want to get in touch with you. What's the best way?
The best way to find us is wordsandnumbers.org.
Easy enough. Hey, Anthony, really appreciate you being on the program.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, Professor Anthony Davies, and seriously, check out the podcast. I mean, even also in between the podcast, there are some really good conversations that happen on their Facebook page as well. All right, 314-912-1019. Guys, I love the fact that he says, oh, yeah, you want colleges to make tuition more affordable? Give them skin in the game to where they have to underwrite it. And I love how Anthony put that.
Yeah.
They will become laser focused on making sure that they have a valuable degree that can be paid back. All
I
right,
love that proposal.
314-912-1019. We get your thoughts on that. And also, Ozzy Osbourne isn't just singing about paranoid. He's paranoid about living in the U.S.
Yeah.
But bump. My classic rock fans know that one right there. Yeah, he says he's leaving because America too wild and crazy for Ozzy Osbourne. Man, we must really be bad. So I'll tell you why he's saying that just ahead. On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Starting to get heavy westbound headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. We're backed up on North 55 most of the way from Bayless through the work zone. North 270 has pockets of stop and go. Some of that is bumper to bumper between 55 and Manchester. Eastbound 270 at Lindbergh. A crash is partly blocking the right shoulder. That traffic is heavy. We've got one delaying things on Route N between Lake St. Louis and Summers. And our big delay, westbound 64 west 111. They're clearing a multi-vehicle crash. Traffic is at a halt back to 157. This support sponsored by Dell Technologies, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. And summer with up to $300 off the XPS with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
We love to celebrate our veterans, and Tuesday at 10:41, we'll talk to Brian Judy to talk about Freedom Jam at the Diamond Music Hall coming up next weekend.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Colombo here for Agers Heating and Air Conditioning. Putting an Agers system in our new home was our number one priority because Agers' number one priority is doing right by the customer. St. Louis weather is unpredictable, but no matter what's happening outside, having a new HVAC system from Agers will ensure your family is safe and comfortable inside. Whether you need repairs or replacement, Agers has you covered with the clarity and attention to detail your home deserves. Contact Agers now at 636-242-6515 or through their website, callagers.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for the great team at All Solutions Pest Control. All Solutions is the pest control company Christine and I trust with our home because they don't cut corners and they take the time and use the best products available to help protect your home at the highest level possible. If you're experiencing a pest problem or more importantly, want to prevent a problem from developing, the folks at All Solutions are the ones to call. Learn more and contact them now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Because that's where the votes are getting stolen. When you get into the facts and logic and reason thing, it drives me crazy because you're right. I call it the oh my God virus.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Catch me tonight at 7 o'clock. But right now, back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I don't know if it's a quirk of my personality or a defect of my character, but we know that I love the heavy metal, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah. And so Ozzy Osbourne, gotta love Ozzy Osbourne. He's cooked. He's baked. His brain is
he's twice baked.
He's pickled.
Sharon!
That's right. He said, That's right. He says, actually, it was funny. In another city, there was a morning rock show that used to have a contest that was called "What Did Ozzy Say?"
Yeah.
And they would literally just take a clip from that. What was that reality show that the Osborne family was?
I think it was
years
just called
ago?
The Osbournes or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But they would take a clip of that and just play it. And if you could actually guess what he said, you won a prize.
That's kind of awesome.
It really was. So, according to The Guardian, Ozzy Osbourne says that he and Sharon, his wife, are going to be selling their Los Angeles home and move to an estate in England over the next 6 months or so. Well, okay, they're from England, I get that, but he says he's making the move because everything's ridiculous in the United States. He's quoted as saying, "I'm fed up with people getting killed every day. God knows how many people have been shot in school shootings." That's saying that he does not want to die in America, and it was time to return to his home country. Now, keep in mind that since Black Sabbath became, huge back in, Ken, you're going to know this better than I did, probably about mid 70s.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath. I mean, they were around before that, but really when they became huge, and then Ozzy Osbourne went out on his own in, and made it even bigger in the early 80s, he's been surrounded by private security.
Yeah.
He's too much of an investment for the record companies and concert promoters to leave anything to chance. And Ozzy, if you could not kill yourself by now by doing every freaking drug on the planet, we're not going to get you at this point. And this is, of course, assuming that they quoted him correctly, because everything Ozzy Osbourne tends to say sounds basically like, he could have literally said, "Please hold the pickles. I want extra lettuce on my burger for a week."
So that sounds kind of like Vic's "Play Me Some Biden" type of. But Mike, in the UK, it's not like it's all rosy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right there. They're just not using guns.
Oh, yeah. And they still have some guns over there. Here's what's really weird. And maybe it's my bias because I've been listening to Ozzy Osbourne's music since high school. But it's stupid what he said, but I can't even really be mad, because other so-called celebrities, and you'll notice I don't do a lot of celebrity culture on the show. I just think it's nonsense.
Me too.
But yeah, some pop star or actor or something says, "I'm backing up and leaving because of these, whatever." I'm like, all right, well, there's the door. Don't, let it hit you on. Don't let it hit you. I don't care. With Ozzy Osbourne, it's like, he just is so baked, cooked, pickled that you just got to roll with it. You just want to pat him on the back. Like, I know, Ozzy, it's crazy. Here, have a seat, get comfortable, because you just don't know where he's at or what's left of his noggin at this point.
Yeah, that show ran back in 2004, 2005 era. And I remember, because as much as I've heard Black Sabbath songs, I was not familiar with Ozzy Osbourne himself, the man. And then all of a sudden he was kind of everywhere because, their reality show, The Osbournes, actually blew up at the time. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on with this guy? I could not tell you exactly what was going on with this guy, right? Because he was hard to decipher.
It was one of the first family reality shows.
I think so.
I know. And Ken, you'll probably relate to this way that I did. I think I watched one episode of it and I was horrified because listen, this is Ozzy Osbourne. This is the Prince of Darkness. This is the guy who supposedly bit the head off a bat. I mean, and this is now America's favorite TV dad. What?
Yeah, that's what I found so odd, because I've always loved, especially Ozzy's solo work. I mean, I thought it was really good, and I'd see him live on stage with the black leather and all that stuff, and he'd sing his songs, and he'd give these looks like, well, he looked like Satan basically. But then now you see him on this TV show, and you're listening to him with his wife telling him what to do and where to go and everything, and you're thinking, "You're Ozzy? Wait a minute."
Yeah.
And he'd shuffle around his mansion.
Yeah.
Saying unintelligible things.
Planting flowers.
Yeah.
I think the one that I saw, they were like previewing the concert he was going to do that night, and they had Lawrence Welk style bubbles floating everywhere. And he was like, "Hey, I'm the Prince of Darkness. No bubbles,
Yeah.
Like,
right.
So that's why what I say is, I guess, because I'm a conservative talk show host, I'm supposed to be really bad about this, and it kick him out. And I'm like, guys, his head's been pickled since like 1968. I mean, if he wants to go back to England, that's okay. He can go back to England. We'll be just fine without him. And I'm still going to listen to Iron Man, and I'm still going to listen to No More Tears.
I wish he would take about, I don't know, 150 others with him.
Now, I wonder, do Joe Biden fans feel the same about modern Biden as you guys did when you first saw Ozzy as TV dad versus his, the previous persona you were aware of?
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? Because all the Biden fans that I talked to prior to 2016, they were like, "Oh yeah, Uncle Joe, and he's a fighter, and they had this picture of him. I think that existed. It probably existed in 1990, minus the intelligence, because I don't think he's ever been a really smart guy.
No.
But you know what I mean? Like he seemed. Obviously, he was in much better cognitive shape. So then they get this president, and he's just kind of doddering around and
shuffling
from behind the podium. Do you think they feel the same way,
Mike? I personally think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, because how do you deal with all that? All right, 119-94.1 News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for our family dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, a one-stop solution for all your family's dental needs. So much so, it's very rare for them to refer you for a procedure, including braces for you and your kids. Dr. Boscia uses the My Forever Smile braces system, which straightens teeth many times in less than a year with minimal discomfort for half the price of traditional braces. Traditional braces or Invisalign can cost $6,000 or more, but Dr. Boscia only charges $29.98 for My Forever Smile. Incentives can lower the price to $26.98, and if you have insurance, it's even less. Plus, New Creation offers in-office financing to make it extra affordable if you need it. So why go through years of discomfort with traditional braces when you can get a perfect smile in half the time for half the cost with Dr. Boscia and the My Forever Smile braces system? Learn more about My Forever Smile and everything else the great staff at New Creation can do for you and your family at newcreationdentalcare.com. That's newcreationdentalcare.com.
Now is your chance to come and hear your Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft, at the iconic Turkish Pavilion in Tower Grove Park.
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McClain, Chair of the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. Come and participate in the $5 raffle for a 10-ounce pure silver bar valued at $240 at our annual picnic on Sunday, September 11th. Proceeds support our city police.
Hear from 9 local candidates as they share their vision for a better future, all while enjoying free barbecue and meeting other Republicans. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details. Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. It's the anniversary of a milestone in the tragic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. It was 1 year ago today the final American flight departed Afghanistan. The country plunged into chaos when President Biden ordered the hasty withdrawal of U.S. troops after a 20-year mission, and the Taliban seized control. As the U.S.-backed government collapsed, a terrorist bombing killed 13 American troops, along with 170 other people. Hundreds of Americans were left behind as the troops were ordered out before all the civilians could be evacuated. He may be down, but he's not out. An NYPD detective battling a COVID vaccine mandate has suffered a legal setback, but he's not giving up the fight.
Detective Anthony Marciano is more than one of 1,000 New York City employees who didn't qualify for a medical or religious exemption from getting the coronavirus vaccine. Claiming natural immunity, he has a lawsuit pending in federal appeals court to keep from getting fired. On Monday, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, who oversees emergency appeals for the region, made no comment as she denied his request for an emergency injunction while the case is being resolved. The city's law department says it's happy with the ruling, but Marciano's attorney says she'll ask the entire Supreme Court for a review. I'm Jennifer King.
Massive flooding has taken out the Jackson, Mississippi water treatment plant.
The water is not safe to drink, not even say it's not safe to brush your teeth with.
Mississippi State Health Officer Daniel Edney.
We are not seeing adequate chlorination and inability to consistently disinfect the water. So you need to boil the water for 3 minutes fully and conserve your water, but husband your water resources.
Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves declaring a state of emergency. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures up 113 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Starting to get heavy westbound headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. We're backed up on North 55 most of the way from Bayless through the work zone. North 270 has pockets of stop and go. Some of that is bumper to bumper between 55 and Manchester. Eastbound 270 at Lindbergh. A crash is partly blocking the right shoulder. That traffic is heavy. We've got one delaying things on Route N between Lake St. Louis and Summers. And our big delay, westbound 64, west 111. They're clearing a multi-vehicle crash. Traffic is at a halt back to 157. This report sponsored by Dell Technologies, and I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
The Labor Day event from Dell Technologies is here. And summer with up to $300 off the XPS with 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade by calling 877-ASK-DELL.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature at 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Gerhardt.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
Something big happened in the American Southwest just within the past couple of weeks or so, and that is the state of Arizona says school choice Yeah, let's do that. And it has resulted in the public really confirming what I think a lot of advocates and a lot of pundits have said, is that parents want more control over their kids' education. I'm Mike Ferguson. I'm now joined by Corey DeAngelis, who is a senior fellow at the American Federation for Children. And of course, you see him on Fox News all the time. And I would say probably the country's leading voice for education freedom. So, Corey, I know you put a lot of work into what's happening in Arizona. Let's start there. What is it that was actually signed into law? And we got to talk about that response, because the response was so overwhelming from the public that it literally crashed a website, as I understand it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a great victory. This the parent demand is crashing the government website. It's just absolutely glorious. They crashed it in just a couple of days. But what actually happened was that Doug Ducey, the governor, signed into law the biggest school choice victory in U.S. history. They went all in. It's the gold standard of school choice policy, which is that every single family, regardless of income, will now be able to take their children's education dollars to the education providers of their choosing. That could be the public school if you want, but could also be a charter school, a private school, or home-based education option. That's about $7,000 per student in Arizona. And this clearly cements Arizona now as the #1 state for educational freedom all across the country. I'm hoping other states will follow suit. And this is already, I'm seeing, sparking some friendly competition all across the country. This is the gold standard, and good on Arizona Republicans for making it happen. One thing to note is that Arizona has the slimmest of majorities for the GOP. They have 1-seat majorities in their House and their Senate, and they obviously have the governor's seat as well. That it took every single Republican to show up, vote for the party platform issue of school choice, and they got it done with just enough votes. So if they can do it in a state like Arizona with 1-seat majorities, Texas, I'm looking at you, Florida, I'm looking at Missouri, I'm looking at every red state. They should be able to get this done too.
Corey, back in the 90s, Social Security was considered the third rail of politics. Recently, I would argue that education was one of those third rail of politics, particularly when it comes to public education or government schools. What does this victory in Arizona for school choice advocates, or some smaller ones around the country, what does that tell us about the issue itself, and especially the messaging to lawmakers who maybe are afraid to go that far because they're afraid of upsetting the teachers' unions or the school administrators or whoever it is?
Well, there's a parent revolution all happening like we've never seen before. There's a new special interest group in town, these parents who just want more of a say in their kids' education, and they're going to fight harder than the teachers' unions because these are their kids. The kids don't belong to the government. And look, if you want to come out against parental rights right now in this moment after the past 2.5 years, it's becoming a form of political suicide to come out against the parents. Look at what happened in Virginia with Terry McAuliffe saying, I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach. That backfired in a state that went 10 points to Biden just the year before. Glenn Youngkin leaned into educational freedom as a political winner. So it's not just the right thing to do for parents and families and students, but it's also politically popular, particularly right now after the past few years. We've seen a 8 percentage point jump in support of school choice nationwide, according to the latest Real Clear Opinion Research polling, finding that 72% of Americans now support school choice, including supermajorities of Republicans, independents, and Democrats. Look at what happened to the National School Boards Association, who tried to label parents as domestic terrorists after colluding with the Biden administration. That blew up in their face too. 26 states already left the NSBA. We can't even really call it a National School Boards Association anymore. We might as well call it, I don't know, the Regional School Boards Association. Republicans who come out against school choice are losing their primaries left and right. And look, this is a political winner. It is a GOP party platform issue. Voters overwhelmingly support it. Other states are doing it all across the country, and there's no good reason to come out against it at this point. It's the right thing to do. It's politically popular, and we're seeing that play out. If the GOP wants a red wave in November, this is the way to do it. I mean, look at the last two. There was a couple of polls last month, one by the teachers unions and another by another left-leaning group, the Democrats for Education Reform, both finding Republicans up on the issue of education. happens. If you look historically speaking, Democrats are usually up on education by double digits. And in 2017, Gallup actually found Democrats up on education by 19 points. So for Republicans to be up, this is a golden opportunity for the GOP to become the parents' party if they don't mess it up. If they want to give a gift to Democrats, what they would do is shut up on education like they've done for far too long. But if they want to win, if they want a red wave, they'll follow the blueprint that was set in stone by Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia. He tapped into something that Republicans should follow as a blueprint for success because it's a winner.
All right, we're visiting with Corey DeAngelis, Senior Fellow at the American Federation for Children. And it's interesting to me, just from a political science perspective, Corey, is that when something has that much momentum, usually the opposition jumps in and says, okay, let's negotiate. We'll meet you somewhere in the middle. And that's not what we're seeing with the teachers unions in particular. They simply say, we want to hit this head on and protect the status quo where we're at. They're not interested in anything other than preserving the system where it's at right now. I just find that really curious, just from, like I said, a political science perspective.
Well, it's hubris. They've been so drunk on power for so long. It's almost as if they cannot reverse course. They've always gotten their way. They have had a lot of power, historically speaking. But there's a change at play here, which is the parents that they haven't really had to deal with before. These parents are pushing back in larger numbers than we've ever seen before, and they're pushing back harder than they ever have before. So the teachers unions are going to continue overplaying their hand because they haven't had to change course before. So it's really tough for them to do. But this is going to lead to us freeing families from the clutches of the teachers unions once and for all. I mean, just look at New Jersey teachers union. They just had an ad come out where they pretty much told Terry McAuliffe in Virginia to hold my beer. And it labeled parents as extremists in the ad. It's like a minute-long ad, and they were able to get in a soundbite to label parents as extremists. That didn't work with the NSBA. That didn't work with Terry McAuliffe. They're basically writing ads for the opposition. They're basically trying to help out the Republicans at this point, although inadvertently. Yesterday, you had Randy Weingarten, the president of the American Federation of Teachers, the second largest teachers union in the nation, have to delete a tweet because she amplified and quote tweeted a supposed list of banned books in Florida. It was a totally made up list of books. They weren't actually banned in Florida. And she was just trying to take a swing at Republicans. And so they're engaging in misinformation. They're scrambling. They're freaking out. They're terrified. Why? Because school choice is coming and there's nothing they can do about it. So they're just going to keep doubling and tripling, quadrupling down on their anti-parent, family, anti-student rhetoric, and it's going to blow up in their face. And that's the good news, is that families are going to finally be free, just like we saw in Arizona. That's the gold standard of school choice. I'm hoping every single red state, it shouldn't just be red states, but I expect the red states will be the next ones to come along to free every single family from the clutches of the teachers unions once and for all.
Corey, in the last minute or so that we've got here, what is it that changed? Because it used to be across the board, Republican, Democrat, independent, just the opposite of what you just said. There used to at least be a loyalty to the public school system, and we're not seeing that. What's changed in the last couple of years or so where this has really built up momentum?
Yeah, totally. Actually, the latest Gallup polling nationwide found that Republican support or confidence in the public school system is actually at an all-time low. So the teachers unions overplayed their hand, and part of it had to do with the school closures and families getting to see what the heck was going on in the public schools. Families who thought that their kids were in great public schools because of the ratings by the state or because of the standardized test scores started to see another dimension of school quality, which happens to be whether that school's values are aligned with your family's values. Parents started to get really upset because they felt like their kids were being indoctrinated for such a long time. And those parents are rising up. They're pushing back. They've woken up and they're never going back to sleep.
All right, Corey, American Federation for Children is found where, online or social media?
Yeah, you can go to federationforchildren.org, or you can follow me on Twitter at DeAngelis Corey. You can also help us in the fight for education freedom by going to educationfreedompledge.com.
And what's the quick 30-second elevator pitch on that?
Yeah, if you can pledge to support education freedom, telling your lawmakers that you support education freedom, and your lawmakers can also sign the pledge so that they support having the funding follow the child to the education provider of their choosing. Again, that's educationfreedompledge.com.
Corey, I always appreciate having you on the program. Thanks again.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Mike.
Well, whether he is on Fox News or One America or Newsmax or right here on News Talk STL, Corey does not pull any punches, and I love it. All right, 314-912-1019. Let's talk about it. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Inspiration, you have a soul so dark, it is no more.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com.
Had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that now? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
You want to give me more information?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Just had a crash with injuries come in 364 eastbound before 141. That right lane is really jammed up. I can't actually see the crash, though. 55 north, your slowdown now is closer to the Bayless area into Gasconade, but that's still an additional 15 minutes. 64 westbound still backed up before you get to Hampton, most of the way to Big Bend. Eastbound 64, still pockets approaching Lindbergh most of the way into 170. East 270 busy at Lindbergh due to an earlier crash, but we look better westbound 64 at 111. We had huge delays there earlier this morning due to an accident. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4. Galaxy Z Fold 4 is here to change the way you get things done. Now you can browse social media while tuning into a video call, and with the expansive foldable screen, you can use up to 3 apps at the same time. Visit Samsung.com today to order your Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Spend your Labor Day at the ballpark on Monday, September 5th. The Cardinals host the Nationals. That day, 25,000 fans, ages 16 and older, will take home one of 2 exclusive Cardinals patriotic bucket hats. You won't know which one you'll get until you walk through the gates of Busch Stadium. That's Monday, September 5th. The Cardinals, the Nationals, and the mystery patriotic bucket hat. Great seats remain. Get yours today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Yo, it's your favorite artist, Seals. Meet me at the ballpark on Monday, September 5th for African American Heritage Day. With the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will take home an exclusive Cardinals cap designed by me. Come early for a pregame Heritage celebration in the Budweiser Terrace. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/theme. Ski!
Columbo and Katie.
By the time I started in radio in the mid-90s, Mark, we had basically made the switch to CDs. So I really didn't really go through any kind of the change like you would have.
Well, and if you go back and talk to guys that were in radio early on where you played LPs and you went back and forth, the reoccurring dreams that our records running out.
Records running out.
You sit up, you bolt up in your bed, you're like, no, there's a record ready.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. Fox News commentary.
Nearly 4.9 million illegal aliens have entered the USA since January 2021. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the population of the entire country of Ireland. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
Now is the time to diversify your investments with gold and silver to protect your retirement. Hi, it's Lisa Booth for Bishop Gold Group. Bishop Gold Group sells physical gold and silver delivered to your door or put directly in your IRA. Call Bishop Gold Group and tell them Lisa Booth sent you to receive a silver gift on your first order. Dial pound 250 from your mobile phone and mention keyword Bishop Gold or go to bishopgoldgroup.com. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from Bishop Gold Group.
Immigration watchdog group, the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Since Biden took office, our border has seen 3.9 million illegal crossings and roughly 900,000 undetected gotaways. That isn't just a problem for border cities and states, it's an American problem. Beyond just the illegal immigrants pouring in to stress our courts, law enforcement, schools, and pocketbooks, there are also high amounts of deadly drugs being trafficked in. Whether these people are simply coming for work or a better life or with nefarious and criminal intentions, it's not sustainable. I feel for these people and understand why they're coming, but it isn't fair to ask legal immigrants and American citizens to foot this bill or deal with this influx. Where is Joe Biden? Where is Border Czar Kamala? Those tasked with protecting the integrity of our nation are asleep at the wheel or just quite frankly don't care. Build the wall, enforce the border. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can listen to all of my hot takes at foxnewscommentary.com.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Here's what the illiberal left does not get.
Live and local.
We're at least going to talk to the person who is on the ballot. Let's see how serious she is about running.
This is News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, 8:35. St. Louis City in particular is having a big problem with car theft. And that's not a big new secret on that, but they're gravitating towards two types of cars, they being the criminals, and the city is mad about it. They say it's time somebody's held accountable. And I'll just give you a little bit of a spoiler. They're not really focused on the criminals themselves. I'll explain at 8:35. I'm Mike Ferguson. It is about 8:22. Good morning. Got Gabe here. Got Ken here. Robin, hang on just 1 second. I want to get your thoughts and response to that conversation with Corey DeAngelis that we just had. But it's interesting with me being gone a lot of the week to kind of recover from this surgery. I have a lot of people say, oh my goodness, Mike, is this going to mess up that Britain laser vision correction surgery that you had done? No, not in the least bit.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
We lost him again?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. All right.
He's going to have to start over with that conversation.
Yeah,
I'd like
really.
to hear what he's going to talk about, especially with his eyes.
Yeah, because one of the things that I've been worried about for Mike is making sure that he gets in here. Because as you can tell, the glitches and things are a little frustrating for us. So having him in studio would be nice. But obviously though, we want to make sure that he gets better and he follows the doctor's orders while he does so. This is going to frustrate him more. He's going to be even more come into the studio. We got to make sure he doesn't do that. Rachel's going to be barring the door to keep him inside.
And we talked about it this morning, but when he described, I even thought, okay, maybe he could come in, but then when he started talking about the description of his eye, and how it's black,
completely blacked over,
and then no, I just don't think that's such a good idea for him to do that, especially he hasn't been signed off by the doctors or anybody,
right? I guess that's what happens when the eye is all bruised up, right? It's just filled with blood, essentially.
The bottom line is you get really ugly.
Hey, Mike, what I want you to do is kind of tell us about Brenton.
That's right. Smooth segue. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because a lot of people are saying, oh my goodness, is this, eye surgery that I had, is this going to affect the Brenton Vision? And no, I mean, the great thing about Brenton Vision is that they customize the procedure you're going to get. Remember, these are some of the most highly trained, highly skilled ophthalmologists and surgeons you're going to find anywhere. And they're right here in St. Louis. 314-375-2020. That's how to get in touch with them. 314-375-2020 or BrentonVision.com. And what they determined was right for me was actually to do the laser vision correction on my right eye. And so that's the eye that is set for my long distance vision, basically. And my left eye, the one that had the retina problem later on, that's my sort of up close eye. So if it weren't for what Brenton Vision did, I would be completely lost right now. And even, the surgeons who worked on me and the doctors that worked on the eye that is totally different than what Brenton did, they were like, man, this looks good. This, laser vision thing. Cause they looked in there and around like, man, that looks really good. And so my life has improved so much with Brenton Vision and, the injuries from the surgery that's on the other eye, that's going to heal up. And then I'm going to be back to hopefully seeing as much as my retina will allow me to. But The worst case scenario is that I've got crystal clear vision out of that eye that Brenton Vision worked on, because Jason told me, Jason Brenton, he said, you see with your brain, not just your eyes. And it's a whole scientific medical approach. And this is not just getting another set of glasses. This is about permanently fixing your vision. So do what I did. Call them at 314-375-2020. You can also self-test and learn more at BrentonVision.com. All right. We just had the conversation with Corey DeAngelis. I think the most effective spokesperson for education freedom in the country right now. Robin, what did you think? Thanks for being a part of News Talk STL.
Robin?
It's not me. It's not me that time.
No, this is you. But we do have Byron actually on the line. He said he wanted to talk to you also, Mike.
Oh, okay. Byron, you're on News Talk STL.
Hey, Mike, I'm glad you're doing okay. But the Kia, I want to talk to you about the Kia situation, and that this is a lot like what Megan Green is doing to Schnucks on South Grand, is that people are complaining about homeless.
So
crime
infuriating. And, the reaction to that. The reaction to Schnucks on that, Byron, is so infuriating. But yeah, go ahead, because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was just going to say is that, they're blaming the businesses for the failures of the government. And, this is why businesses are continuing to leave the city. This is why citizens are continuing to leave the city. It's because, they're not looking at, Megan Green voted for allowing homeless encampments. She's voted for defunding of the police. She supports Tashara's, basically dismantling of the St. Louis Police Department, and she supports Kim Gardner's efforts to allow criminals to run the streets. And then yet she wants to hold Schnucks accountable because people are defecating and urinating in that property area. And it's like, you're the ones to blame for this, not Schnucks. Schnucks is paying their taxes. They're asking you to provide a service for their business and to provide the necessary protections, and they're just not doing it. And it's just going to be another case where more businesses refuse to come to the city or leave the city.
Yeah, and there's only so long that you can push the blame away from actual criminals and continuing to say, well, listen, victim, I mean, you really had a hand in this too. It's really kind of your fault. And that's the pattern that we're seeing. And then they wonder why it's hard to recruit businesses into the city. Congratulations. You got yourself a soccer team. Wonderful. What's that going to do on South Grand?
Yeah, especially when you drive down the alleys and you see trash being piled up, miles high, because the city won't pick up the trash, and they want to it won't be too long before they're blaming homeowners and renters for wanting to throw out garbage and stuff. I mean, this is just, it's pure incompetence. It's pure corruption from the St. Louis city. And if Megan Green is elected as president of the Board of Aldermen in November, it's only going to get 10 times worse.
Yeah. All right, because I'm going to go into a little more depth right after this next information segment on what sort of started that discussion. And you're seeing this in the news. And Byron, thanks for being on News Talk STL.
Yep.
And what we've got here is a rapid increase in not just car thefts, but in particular kinds of cars, because it turns out that there's a vulnerability there. And just like Byron is saying, the reaction from City Hall is, well, it's clearly the car's fault. We better get on the car makers to hold them accountable. Not really a mention of the freaking criminals. We'll talk about it just ahead right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and NewstalkSTL.com. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
From the News Talk STL newsroom, I'm Joey Vasevich. The city councilor's office has sent letters to Kia and Hyundai chastising the car manufacturers for failing to install an engine immobilizer in many of their vehicles. The city is now giving Hyundai and Kia until September 18th to make satisfactory progress to mitigate the public nuisance they've created, or else the city councilor's office will sue both companies. The St. Charles County Police Department is investigating a fatal crash at a railroad crossing in the northern part of the county. The driver of an SUV was killed near Dwiggins Road and Missouri Highway 94. Police said it appears the driver was trying to cross the tracks ahead of the freight train that was traveling east. The crash occurred at a crossing without an arm or gate that drops down when a train is approaching. A shooting near Jennings Junior and Senior High Schools briefly put the campuses on lockdown yesterday morning. No students were injured in the incident. When police arrived at the scene around 7 a.m., they found 2 people with gunshot wounds near the intersection of Shannon Avenue and Brookfield Drive. 2 other victims were found nearby. And in sports, the Cardinals beat the Reds 13-4 in Cincinnati last night after 2 rain delays. Albert Pujols hit home run 694 and in turn broke Barry Bonds' record for the most pitchers homered off of with 450. The Cards and Reds play again tonight at 5:40 p.m. For in-depth coverage of these stories and more, go to NewstalkSTL.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Eastbound 364, you've got a backup approaching 141. The right lane is closed due to an injury crash involving a motorcycle. Still an extra 15 minutes on 55 North, close to Bayless, up through Gasconade as you head into that work zone this morning. 64 westbound is clear coming out of Collinsville. We had some earlier major issues at 111. We're thinning out, headed for the bridge downtown. 270 North, still pockets, 55, most of the way up through Manchester. All of that is starting to ease. Give yourself about an extra 10 to 13 minutes there. This report sponsored by Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. The brand new Galaxy Z Flip 4 is finally here. Capture hands-free content from every angle with Flex Mode. The sleek foldable design lets you make your device conveniently compact. Visit Samsung.com now to order your Galaxy Z Flip 4 phone today. I'm Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
The front has moved through, and we have some really nice weather to look forward to. The sun is out today. The high temperature is 87 degrees, so cooler than yesterday's 94, and the humidity drops markedly through the day, so it's really going to be pleasant. Overnight lows tonight in the low to mid 60s, and that dry air making for a beautiful morning on Wednesday. The high temperature Wednesday on 86, and it looks like we stay pretty dry right through the Labor Day weekend. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com. Have you been floored? Not until you've gone to Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 28 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Save money and get quality at Michael's. Plus, your installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 convenient locations or shop from home. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the Morning, made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I want to get into this car theft thing because it's not just about, look, these are lousy policies. It's because these are lousy views of government and worldviews that go into this. And the bottom line is that we're less safe in the city of St. Louis as a result of that. I'm Mike Ferguson, 837, and I've got Gabe here and Ken here as well. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Robin called in just a little bit ago. Robin, you were responding to the discussion we had with Corey DeAngelis regarding school choice in the country. So appreciate you being a part of the program. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. You know how the Democrats wanted to make sure that Trump didn't get in office, which takes us to the top of the government. But using COVID, the parents said, hey, what's going on in the schools? And found that out. So the parents are trying to change things from the bottom. And it seems like it's going up. So they start with schools, their city, their county, their state, and it's going to go through the whole national, United States. So I don't know. I feel a little bit better right now thinking that that's what's happening.
Yeah, well, there's also a connection there, Robin. I mean, it's been said that he who controls the schools controls the next generation. And that's really what's at stake. Robin, it's kind of funny you mentioned that because just over the last couple of days, I was on the phone with a local school board member here in the area, one of the good ones. And, a lot of media and teachers unions are lamenting the fact that there's a new law in Missouri that you can't basically hand out child pornography in public schools. You wouldn't think we need a law for that, but we need a law for that. And this school board member was telling me, saying she's going to all these different school locations in her district, and they're going through the books. And she says the number of books we're throwing out, not because they're ideologically different than what we like. It's not about conservative or liberal. It's about explicit child pornography that they're throwing out. And these are the types of things that happen at that local level. And if they're not challenged, and we allow culture to be hijacked and changed at the school board level, that goes up to City Hall, that goes up to the county government, that goes up to the state legislature, and it goes up to Washington, D.C. So it's all connected, Robin.
Yes. And I'm praying for you, Mike.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I mean that very, very sincerely. Thank you so much, Robin, for being a part of News Talk STL. And
hey,
by
Mike,
the way, yes, sir.
No, go ahead. I just want to make a point about what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just going to thank everybody because I know I got a lot of notes. Hey, people, hey, Mike, praying for you. And I know for a lot of people, that's like a throwaway line. And I don't consider it that way. And I truly, truly appreciate all those messages and all those prayers because, man, when you have surgery on one of your eyeballs, it is scary, man. Scary.
Oh, I bet it is.
Yeah.
What I was going to bring up to you is I was watching this morning on one of our local TV stations, and of course they were slanting it to the left when they were talking about these books. They were making it sound, and I'll tell you, I tried so hard while watching this story to put myself in the position of someone who doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
And when I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, wait a minute, the school is banning books. And that's what they were making it sound like. The main character that they were interviewing was the person that was a librarian who was against getting rid of these books.
But you know what's funny is it wasn't all that long ago that leftist activists were trying to ban Huckleberry Finn and To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, absolutely, because of the use of the N-word. Yes,
right.
They were the literal book banning people. Not so much just because they were trying to remove standard classic literature from schools where they were actually appropriate, but they were actually trying to get them off of Amazon. They were trying to get them out of bookstores. I remember the whole book banning wave that kind of came over America for a little while, coming from the left, and it included a lot of new releases as well. There were conservatives who had books coming out that they tried to get removed from availability at all.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're affiliated with any local media, you've got to really think about this. I mean, because I know you get instructions from your program director, and they get instructions from higher up, I'm sure. But we've really got to get a handle on this thing, because this is a spin. This is a spin. It's not simple reporting. It is a spin, and they've got to stop this stuff and start using journalism as their foundation. And Mike just went off the air again, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. But the thing I wanted to say also was that, it's not so much that conservatives are looking to, quote unquote, ban certain books. We're trying, what we want to happen is appropriate age restrictions on books to be applied fairly.
Yeah,
that's what we're actually looking to do. Because the thing is that no one is clamoring because, you can't get a Playboy magazine at an elementary school library, right?
Right.
Nobody's complaining about it, because that would be stupid. Because there's such a thing called age appropriateness. And Mike just came back on as the middle of me talking about a Playboy magazine in elementary school library. And he was like,
Yeah.
What the heck is going on my show?
Right.
But the point being that, the age appropriateness of the books is what's at issue. It's not the idea of banning a book from all consumption.
Right.
Well, let me also follow up, and I'm talking to this school board member, and she sends me photographs of several of the books, saying this is what we're finding in our library that we didn't even know had been approved, was on the shelves. Because remember, they don't call the parents' permission to say, hey, is it okay if Johnny, checks out To Kill a Mockingbird, or any other book? And I'm telling you guys, I can't even read what's on these pages, or else we'll get in trouble with the FCC.
Mike, the videos they were playing, the videos they were showing on television, they had to blur it out.
Right. And my wife made a really good point. We were talking about this the other day. And she said, if any of us walked up to a kid, and even a drawing, these aren't photographs, but drawings and cartoons, and we handed that to a kid on the street, we get arrested for distributing child pornography or enticing or whatever charges. Rightfully, we get charged with
right.
that.
If I had that book in my hand, I wouldn't even attempt to walk. I'd be afraid to walk up to a child and hand him that book.
Yeah. And so why is it not just legal, but why do we have the public education establishment getting upset with the fact that you can't have literal how-to sexual instruction? And that's not hyperbole, guys. It is how-to. It is graphic how-to. This body part goes here, and drawings of naked people in sexual ways. It is absolutely grooming. And here's the thing. I'm not a book banner. I'm not a book burner. You know what? You want to put the writings of Lenin? You want to put La Follette's autobiography? You want to put all of these ideas I detest and make them available in a library because we're having a battle of ideas? Good. Do it. But you can still be a conservative and a libertarian and a free market person and a freedom-focused person, and at the same time say, but can't we draw the line somewhere before child pornography in public schools? Those are not inconsistent.
The wild part about this to me is how hard they're fighting.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that you would think that, having been discovered here, that they would be embarrassed.
Yeah.
I mean, you occasionally see it with the school boards and, with the parent who comes up to the podium and they start reading from the book, or they hold up pictures to the board and the board kind of recoils because they are embarrassed by what's happening there. But there doesn't seem to be that sort of embarrassment when it comes to their response to parental requests to remove these things from availability from their children. They seem not only defiant but angry that you would even bring it up.
The funny part was I asked this school board member, because she's not popular because she's one of the good guys, and I said, hey, quick question, when you're going through these with other board members, with administrators, people who disagree with you and us entirely, have there been any of those moments where they went, oh my gosh, no, that I can't believe? And she said, yeah, over and over, they're shocked at what they're defending. And because this person's handling it the right way and focusing on, okay, can we get this stuff out of the classrooms? That kid's going to turn, 18 someday, and they can go legally buy that Playboy if they want to.
Yeah.
But to say that we don't, it has no place in a public school library where parents aren't allowed to veto what your kids are checking out. They're sitting there going, we didn't even know this was in there. We didn't even know that we were distributing this to kids or making it available.
Yeah, they seemingly snuck these books in, and then we just so happened to stumble upon them a la COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here's a fun discussion. Who's the one who had the power to say, yep, we're putting that on the shelf and making it available for kids, and I'm checking it out to them? And why shouldn't they face criminal prosecution?
There you go.
I don't care if they're in the public schools.
I don't know. No.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. I still want to follow up on this situation with the stolen cars that's happening, because per usual in the deep leftist city, they're going, it's the car's fault. I'm actually not making that up. I'll explain in about 4 minutes after this information segment on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Traffic Center.
Things are looking up a bit. They're working to clear crash 364 eastbound before 141. The right lane is closed, and there is a bit of a backup behind it, but it's not quite back to the bridge. Just be prepared to slow down. 55 North still has a lot of slow traffic approaching 4500 South Broadway. We had a fender bender in the work zone. None of the lanes that are normally open are affected. It's in the left lane that's closed for the construction. Otherwise, we're starting to thin out. 270 North had some pockets running up towards I-44 at Manchester, but it's beginning to ease. Poplar Street Bridge traffic is looking better, just busy around the bend. This report sponsored by the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. The brand new Galaxy Z Flip 4 is here. Capture hands-free content from every angle with Flex Mode. The sleek foldable design lets you make your device conveniently compact. Visit Samsung.com to order your Galaxy Z Flip 4 today. Joe Sonderman from the News Talk STL Traffic Center.
Columbo and Katie.
People have been demanding answers from the president about issues like the student loan repayment plan, but are we getting any of those answers? We'll find out Tuesday at 2:20 from White House correspondent Christian Dayton.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Okay, so the extreme heat is over with. Thank goodness. It's going to be nice and toasty today. It's going to be in the mid, maybe upper 80s as well today. So your AC is working great. Fantastic. But also keep in mind, we're heading into September. It's not that far until the temperatures stop dropping. Now is the time to get your furnace tuned up and checked. Don't wait for that first big drop off of the year where it gets really, really cold and you can't get the furnace to kick on. You can't get the furnace to stay on. You can't stay warm in your own home. So call my friends at Anton's today and schedule your furnace tune-up. AntonsHVAC.com. AntonsHVAC.com. And give them a call. 314-338-3941. 314-338-3941. That's what my wife and I did. We called Anton's, and Anton's came in and installed a central air system in the third floor of our 1926 house. You talk about a complicated install, but they handled it like they had seen it a million times before. We are so happy with this system. Going to be saving us money because it is energy efficient. And you know what? They made sure from the beginning, from the bid to the very end and the cleanup, that all that was left in our house after they left was a state-of-the-art system. We're so glad we worked with Anton's. Do what we did. Call Anton's HVAC, Anton's Heating and Cooling, AntonsHVAC.com, 314-338-3941.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Start a podcast for your business today with Epic STL Podcasts. Engage existing and potential customers, build trust in your brand, and drive traffic to your business. Log on to NewstalkSTL.com and click on the Epic STL Podcast button to learn more.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Something that you just don't hear anywhere else.
The latest climate report.
President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID.
The inflation fire continues.
This is News Talk STL. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. For podcast articles and more, find us on NewstalkSTL.com. You're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Crime stories aren't new, obviously, in St. Louis. And we don't do a whole lot of if it bleeds, it leads coverage. We know we've got serious problems with violent crime. And some of that has to do with factors like education, definitely with economic opportunity. Definitely there are issues culturally throughout all parts of our society. But get this, there's been a huge uptick in car thefts of Kias and Hyundais over the past, year or so. And so as a matter of fact, St. Louis city leaders say about 23 Kias or Hyundais were stolen or there was an attempt to steal them per day in August. And you may say, well, what's going on with Hyundais and Kias? So apparently there's a social media video out there, or there was, where somebody figured out that with like some sort of USB plug-in and a screwdriver, you could go in and you could hotwire a car or whatever they call it now. And so it's easier to steal those brands of cars because there's not a protectorate on there. Now, Hyundai or Kia say, no, we got to fix, come on in and we'll sell it to you. But the city is saying this has gotten so bad that we need to hold the car makers accountable. Right. So they're calling this, a public nuisance, a crime nuisance, and they want to make waves by threatening to sue Kia and Hyundai for not stopping the car thefts. Guys, what are we missing in the conversation here?
Yeah, well, I think you need to be able to think like a leftist, and that's okay. Kind of where we fall down. Like I can't really let my brain kind of go to that place.
Let me prepare my brain to think like a leftist. Hang on a second, guys.
It hurts. Sorry. You hit yourself in the head.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I might
be stupid sometimes.
Yeah. Now you have to remember to breathe. I think it's conscious. It's a conscious effort you have to make now. So
there's no mention in these news stories about the fact that criminals aren't getting prosecuted in St. Louis. They're blaming Kia and Hyundai because somebody figured out a way to get into the cars. And there's no mention of, well, how many people have been arrested or accused, but they're not facing any prosecution charges. And you wonder why we get more of this. These are the same issues that I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's probably more Hyundais and Kias in Chesterfield than there is in Enright Boulevard in St. Louis. I'm just going to guess. That seems to be like a little girl named, teenage girl named, nicknamed Bambi or something driving around the Hyundai. I got to tread lightly because my wife drives a Hyundai. But what I'm saying is that why is this a bigger problem in the city? Well, because criminals know they've got a much better chance of getting away with it there.
Oh, absolutely. The government may as well be asking what the car was wearing. That's kind of that's kind of where we are right now with this, because they don't really care about the criminals. They just say, hey, you shouldn't make crime too easy. And so if the crime happens, it was your fault for making it easy.
And people do that. Years and years ago, somebody broke into the townhouse I lived in. Fortunately, my kids and I were not there, but they got away with some pretty good stuff, including I had a beautiful pre-World War II 357 Taurus 357 Magnum with a custom grip. Now, I am telling you, this thing was hidden well. I mean, they had to ransack the whole place before they found this thing. But sure enough, I had somebody, a leftist friend, and they were like, well, that's your fault. You made it too easy for them to find it. I'm like, they literally kicked in a door, ransacked an entire house, had to uncover stuff, and find this, but this was my fault. Well, yeah, this is really your fault.
You made it too
And
easy,
that's how
Mike,
some people
obviously.
think. It's just amazing.
What do you think, Vic?
Yeah. I mean, when somebody like Kim Gardner let two kids go who tried to carjack a police vehicle with the officers inside the vehicle, and that's just fine. What do we expect, guys, really?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Well, who
yeah,
makes the
I
police
forgot that
cruisers? It's
happened.
probably their fault.
Exactly. It's the cops' fault for being in the car.
Yeah, it was cops.
You shouldn't have been on patrol. I mean, you were in the wrong neighborhood. Like, what? I don't know. How do you get there? How do you get? I mean, Mike has obviously tried the percussive maintenance of his skull in order to get
How'd that work, by the way?
in order to get to leftist thinking. But I'm not.
I do feel dumber.
Good. There you go.
But I don't understand it. I don't understand it whatsoever.
And the thing is that by so many people in media, like, yeah, Kia, Hyundai, they're contributing to this problem by not making it harder to break into their cars. How about we focus on the people breaking into cars? You know what solves the problem of car thefts? People not breaking into cars.
Yeah.
Just pointing that out. All right. Vic Porcelli coming away at 9:04, 9 o'clock hour. What's coming up in about 15 seconds, Vic?
Dr. Tobler coming up first. That's crap. Nick Schroer, bunch of fun on a Tuesday.
Sounds good. Vic Porcelli. I will be back one way or the other tomorrow, I tell you. Thanks for all the prayers, everybody. We will talk to you again tomorrow. Vic Porcelli at 9:04.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Let's face it, food shortages are a real threat now. Supply chain breakdowns, inflation, fuel prices, global conflicts, fertilizer cutbacks, farmers being encouraged not to plant. The stage is set for the peanut butter to hit the fan. But for some reason, Americans are still in denial about food shortages. Listen, we don't take risks with other things in our lives, so why take risks with your food security? Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. Millions of Americans have purchased Ready Hour emergency food from My Patriot Supply, the brand people look for when they're ready for real preparedness. MyPatriotSupply.com is America's largest preparedness company. Get stocked up on emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage to get you through tough times ahead. Your other choice is to stand in government food lines, hoping for a handout. As we both know, that's not an option. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. My Patriot